What's going on, everybody? We're live. It's another Wednesday night here in Houston, Texas. It's 6 o'clock Central Standard Time, Wednesday. Welcome, one and all, to the live stream. None of you. But hey, that's all right. I know the OGs are always late to the party, so come on, come all. We got another one in the house. What's going on, whoever you are? Thanks for showing up. So, kick things off today. This is just for people who might be new to the stream, who might be watching the replay, who've never been here before. I used to be a user experience designer. I used to make over six figures. Worked for a lot of big software companies. It's kind of a big deal, I guess. I don't know. I never really thought so, but a lot bigger of a deal than I am these days, that's for sure. And in August of 2022, the week after the FBI raided Donald Trump's house, I went off on social media. I had been fired from my job, a remote job, for not taking the COVID shot for a job where I worked from home. And I was really pissed. So the week that they raided Donald Trump's house, I'd already had enough. So I went off on social media and said that the Tree of Liberty needs to be watered with the blood of the FBI. And yeah, that was kind of dumb. Because a few days later, the FBI drove a tank straight into my house. Just like they did at Waco. Hog-tied me and dragged me off to federal prison for 2 years. I was tortured for over a week. They kept me in pre-trial for 14 months, locked in a dungeon where I never saw the sun, a tree, never saw the outside for 14 months. And they did that until I would finally cave in and plead guilty. Going to trial, they were trying to give me 7 to 10 years in prison for a mean tweet. So I took the deal, pled guilty, and got 2 years, followed by 3 years of federal probation, of which I'm currently still serving. So when I came home, the person I thought had my back threw me out into the street to be homeless. And then the government forced me to stay homeless for several months because they wouldn't let me move anywhere where I had support and a place where I could potentially live and get back on my feet. Couldn't get a job anywhere. Couldn't get a job at McDonald's, Taco Bell. I got hired at places like Target and kicked to the curb on my first day because of the background check, because now I've got a criminal record. I've even landed multiple six-figure jobs only to get kicked to the curb as soon as they do a background check or that comes up. So eventually I got loud on social media and it kind of forced the government's hand. They let me off the streets, but my only option was to move thousands of miles away to Houston, Texas, where my best friend took me in and helped me get back on my feet. But I was forced to move thousands of miles away from my kids. And I mean, other than my best friend here, I knew nobody. I had nothing, didn't know anybody. Got a part-time job at a bakery. Started riding a bicycle 25 miles each way just to keep that job, 200 to 400 miles a week. But since then, I've built a fledgling freelance digital marketing business, a lot of other side hustles. But every day is a grind to survive, and that's what this channel is all about. To document the rise up from hitting rock bottom. So hopefully I can provide you with some tangible advice, some things and advice that you can use, even if you were never sent to prison for a mistake that you made, but maybe you've fallen on hard times too. It's very easy to do today. Tim C5353, what's going on? Hey, what's up? Good to see ya. I see that number in the top left corner kind of bouncing around. Supposedly there's a way for me to see the live stream. I don't want to channel level settings, pop out, manage. I'm not even going to mess around with it. Supposedly there's a way that I can see a live graph of who's watching and who's not, or I don't know. I'm not even gonna. As soon as I start touching the wrong button, things are gonna go haywire. So I'm just gonna let it go. And so the general format of the stream will be, we'll talk for a few minutes to get warmed up. Feel free to drop your questions and your comments in the chat anytime you want. You guys can steer the direction of the show, but we'll basically start out with what's going on down in Houston. That's what people want to know. That's what people want to know when they bop into here. Yeah, but Tim C5353 says, I've been a follower of yours since the Jamestown days. Yeah, I remember the screen name. There were a lot of people bouncing in and out of the comments during that time on all the different videos that I was posting, but I recognize a lot of your screen names. I know who the OGs are when they show up here, so welcome back. And, just as a quick plug, nothing crazy, but there's a pin for those of you who are watching the replay or whatever. Links.litgood.com is where you can go to find out whatever it is that I'm up to. If I get kicked off YouTube, you'll be able to find me here. Bookmark that. If you want to keep in touch, that's a good way. If you're into memes, I'm pushing this out right now. You can click this link here to join Meme Team 6. And all it is I'm building a meme database. And if you're a Republican, a Democrat, you hate the Republicans, you hate the Democrats, you hate both of them, there's a meme for you in that database. There are, I think it's over 6,000 memes now. I'm having a hard time keeping up with putting keywords on all of them to make them searchable. But there are a number of collections that you'll find. You click that link, you go, it'll have you sign up for an Airtable account. Oops. But I'd have to open it up let me do that. Open in an incognito window, and you'll basically see a thing like this. It says, Adam invited you. You'll be able to fill that out, create an account. It's all free. I can't have anybody be a contributor to the database. I wish I could, but I'd have to pay a lot of money to have everybody but everybody gets read-only access, and it's free. It doesn't cost any money. You sign up for an Airtable account, and when you log into Airtable, the database is there. So with that, that's the plug. That's all I got right now. So yeah, what's going on down in Houston? The update. I think this week I might be having a little bit of camera trouble with this one camera. Maybe not. I'm looking at it right now. This camera gives me, the one I'm looking into right now, it's problematic at times. There's a lot of stream lag. There's a lot of bugs. Last week, as soon as I started up the stream, bugs. Like the whole stream went dead. I had to reboot my Mac. Everything froze. It took like 10 minutes before we got a stable stream up and running, and it was very disappointing. And I was just telling people, I feel like my life revolves around technical difficulties. I'm still a digital marketing guy. I rely on software every day for my livelihood and everything else. A lot of us do. And really, is it any different this day and age than it was back in the day? Back in the day of Little House on the Prairie days, you were probably still running around trying to do a patch job on a leaky boat, trying to fix one problem after the next that you had no control over, trying to grow your crops so your family could eat, sick animals, having to take the horse and buggy into town to get, a month's worth of supplies, having to go on a 2-day trip that would take you 5 minutes each way in the car these days, whatever. But last week's live stream was so full of bugs that I decided to just make it a subject of discussion for today's live stream. And I started jotting down. Anytime I ran into technical difficulties between last week's live stream and now, I just made a note of it. And more, not because it's like I just wanted to go on a 3-hour bitch session about, oh, woe is me, here's all my problems, but to more as like an illustration to showcase because I'm not alone. How much of our lives revolve around trying to deal with broken crap? And in some cases, a lot of this broken garbage and stuff that we deal with has been forced upon us for the sole purpose of making a profit from our misery. Look up the light bulb cartel, the light bulb conspiracy. They know how to manufacture light bulbs that last over 100 years. But all the light bulb companies got together one day and said, no, we're not doing that anymore because we won't sell enough light bulbs if they last too long. So they purposely started to make light bulbs that only last a couple of months. Then you have to get a new one and a new one and a new one. So Wednesday, like I said, the live stream went to crap 2 minutes before going live. Logitech software. There's so many links in the chain when I'm doing this stream that it's really hard to figure out what the problem actually is. And I really don't have any way to troubleshoot it until I'm doing a live stream. So it's kind of like we're doing it live. Tonight it seems to be going pretty smooth, so that's cool. After the live stream last week, I was working with the once again the Meme Team 6 database, and this app Airtable, it's doing its job. I'm not until I find a better replacement. Meme Team 6 is going to be built on top of Airtable. But there was numerous problems with this app. On a scale of 1 to 10, I can only give it like a 4 overall. There's too many problems. I was able to get things done, but I found at least a dozen new glitches and bugs with their mobile app. And later on that night, I have a Fire Stick plugged into a TV. All the TVs suck these days. Like, we have all this technology, and the TVs are garbage. Like, you get a TV now and it's got so much software on it that you can't even use the TV anymore because it's all broken and slow and glitchy and has to be reset and rebooted and factory reset and configured and this and that. And you need a password and scan this QR code and all this. But you got to have an app on your phone to use your damn. Like, I'm at the point where I'd rather just have the TV from like the 1970s, the big wooden thing on the floor of my grandma's house that you'd have to get up and walk across the living room and turn the knob to get the channel that you want to watch, because that's less of a pain in the ass. So I have this TV, and the quality, the picture quality is pretty good. I got this thing for like $100 on Facebook Marketplace, and the guy delivered it to my house. I didn't even have a car yet. And this guy brought it to my house. I already had a thing to mount it in my living room a certain way, and it was ready to go. Well, it has built-in Android TV software, and it constantly disconnects from the Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi router can be 3 feet away from the TV. Disconnects. You can't watch an entire episode of a half-hour show without the Wi-Fi disconnecting. So Amazon had a deal on the Fire Sticks for $12. I bought one. Thought that would solve that. That has solved many a bad TV issue that I've had back in the day. Because I don't like getting expensive TVs. I don't like watching TV all that much. So I'm not going to have one of these 500-foot wide, ultra high def. It took me forever just to get a rectangle TV when everybody went with the rectangle TV instead of the square TV. And I'm like, and I'm a media guy and I'm a video guy. And I mean, I basically had to get the stuff so that I could do my work and look at my work on a proper display device. Not because I actually wanted the thing. It's weird. I work in technology, I build technology, and I hate technology. So, but the Fire Stick is garbage now. Every time Amazon issues an update to this thing, it gets worse. I have an HBO subscription because they offered it to me for $3 a month, and I wanted to watch a movie And it was either rent the movie, wait for a friend of mine to download it so I could watch it for free, but who knows how long that'll take, or subscribe to HBO for $3 a month for a while and watch the movie there. So I was like, all right, fine. So, but now you go on the Fire Stick and you go to Amazon Prime where the HBO is, and you go up to the top menu and you start going across. You have to cross with the remote. You have to go all the way across this horizontal row of links, and you get to this link called Live TV. And all of a sudden, the whole TV takes over with like a live television feed. The menu disappears, and there's no fucking way to get out of the live TV. So you can't actually get to the menu to where you have to go across to pick HBO out of the top menu because this live TV link is in the way. And when your cursor, whatever it is, the selector goes over that live TV link, the TV just goes into this whole other mode and you can't get out of it. So you can't actually select the thing that you want to watch anymore. And whether that was a mistake or, I mean, a lot of these things, they do it on purpose because they're trying to force you to watch something that you didn't want to watch. It's kind of like the same concept of how Netflix has 10,000, 50. Netflix probably has 100,000 different titles, movies, shows, and everything else in their collection. But when you open the Netflix app, what do you see? You see a bar of like 10 things to watch. Here's the 10 things they want you to watch this week. And then there's like 6 or 7 rows of stuff. And each row has like 10 or 15 things. And a lot of the stuff is in multiple rows. So you might see like 30 or 40 things on that. And that's it. There's a little search button. If you know what you want to watch, you can search for it. But they're not going to let you just browse. Hey, let me see the comedies. Let me go to stand-up comedy and see every stand-up comedy thing you've got. No, they don't. You can't do that anymore. You have to download a separate app that's not even a Netflix app that some dude wrote, put it on fucking GitHub, and you gotta like do this weird ass installation to make it work just so you can search their catalog, because they don't even want you to look at the stuff they have. They're trying to force everything down your throat that they want you to watch. And most people are too lazy to go past that up, down, left, right scenario on the homepage. If it's not on the homepage, it doesn't exist. That's 99% of the people that go there and watch that. That's what happens. Or just like mindless, this is what I'm supposed to watch today. Click. Or like, what's everybody at work talking about today? What show is everybody discussing at the water cooler today? This is what I'm supposed to watch this week, right? So they'll never fix it. The Amazon, whatever bug you find in a piece of software, it will never be fixed. Like I said, I don't even know if that Amazon Fire Stick thing was even a bug. Probably not. It was probably a purposeful glitch that they threw in there to force you to watch live TV because they're trying to push that on you. And it's like, the whole reason I have a Fire Stick is so I can watch what I want to watch when I feel like watching it, not so I can go back to 1980 when there's 3 fucking channels on the TV and I've got to watch what's on at this time. Like Price is Right is on, or Wheel of Fortune's on 7 p.m. Monday through Friday on ABC or whatever it is, NBC, whatever. That's it. That's what's on. If you want to watch Magnum PI, it's 9 o'clock Friday night. Be there or don't. Like that. We're past that now. I don't want live TV is for sports. That's it. You want to watch some sports? That's it. There's no other reason to go watch live TV. But they're just trying to push us backwards. So I don't even think that was a bug. I think they're doing it. I think they're disguising it as a bug so they can get their numbers up on whatever they're trying to force feed down your throat this week. It's like I paid for an HBO subscription for a reason, even though it's $3. As soon as it goes up to like regular price, I'm out. There isn't enough stuff on there for me to pay for that, but $3 a month, all right, fine. Um, my friend has a media server. It's called Plex. That's the engine that it runs on is called Plex. Plex is an open source app that allows you to create your own media server from your own video library, music library, or whatever at your home. A lot of people set up a dedicated computer to run Plex. I used to have a Plex server at my house. I didn't really do much with it. A lot of people take a lot of old Mac minis and stuff and they'll set up a Plex server. But what it basically does is creates your own Netflix. So if you're not home and you want to watch your movie collection, you all you got to do is have the Plex app on your phone or what a Fire Stick or whatever device, or you just pull it up on a laptop or whatever, and you can watch your own movie collection that you have at home wherever you are. You can share it with your friends, etc. But even Plex is turning into a pile of garbage. It's like hit or miss whether it works or not. I open up the app. It's like a 50-50 chance of whether my friend's media server will show up on the list or not. And there's a 50-50 chance after that if the video will even play. And so that's buggy. Like I'm just saying, every single thing I use, it doesn't matter whether it's recreation, whether it's for work, whether I'm driving somewhere, whatever the case. Everything's broke. Like everything in our world is just broken, and most of it's on purpose. So yeah, Wednesday night, I threw in the towel and just went to bed. At that point, I was done. I had enough software bugs. Thursday last week, Airtable. Once again, I was working on the Meme Team 6 database because I'm using it to build my following on X. I'm close to 1,000 followers. Every time I put in time on my X profile, I get back what I put in. Effort-wise, I can almost predict how many new followers I'll get in a day based on how much time I put in that day. On days where I put in no time at all, which were at least 3 or 4 days in the last week, I'll still get some traffic and I'm still seeing increases in overall traffic and engagement. But it's the days that I log in there and spend an hour, 2 hours messing around that actually move the ball forward. And I can talk about that a little bit more later, like what I'm actually doing there. But I decided to make a database of memes so that I can just call up the perfect meme for any situation by typing in a keyword. Boom, there it is. Grab it, put it in a post, hit send. And it's fast. I came up with this system for doing this really, really fast. And so this database, Airtable, it's called a no-code database. It's kind of like Microsoft Access, Notion. I can't think of any other well-known tools that do this, but you could build a database without writing any code. And it has a rudimentary user interface around it. If you want to know what it's like, go check out the Join Meme Team 6 link at the top of links.litgood.com. And you can join. It's free. So if I just added like 900 memes in today's dump. I don't have time to go through and add keywords to 900 memes every time I do that. There's a lot of them that have keywords, but that's a never, like that gap between the total number of memes and the total number that have keywords associated with them is going to grow and grow and grow, because I can add 100 and add keywords to like 10 in the time that I have. If I can get to a point where I can switch platforms and have people join it and give you guys access to where you can upload memes and put keywords on memes and help with the cause, then that would be awesome, because that, then it would actually be a team of shit posters to go out and force on X and wreak havoc over the whole platform. That's my goal. That's my dream. So, but right now, Airtable is supposed to be able to hold each database that I create in my account, which is unlimited number of databases, each database is supposed to hold 50,000 records before it craps out. And hey, John S, aka JS, what's going on? One of the OGs. Got to give you the recognition. In fact, why don't we stop for a second? And the other thing about the channel here is we have these really awesome OGs that have become channel members. And here's the list right here. So you'll see these people pop in tonight for sure. We got Angels in Our Midst, Blue Sky, Oddball, Keyrod, Alex and Analog, and Jared Smith. I know, JS, you were a channel member, and you know, things, you know, I get you shared why you weren't anymore, but you're still a channel member at heart. So you're still one of the OGs. That's all good. But if you wanted to join, we got a couple of membership levels. Awesome channel member is $2 a month. And so the main thing that you'll get is when you join the channel memberships, any videos that I post that are long format videos that aren't live streams, I post them for members only, and I take the ads off. So I just uploaded a video today. I'm going to leave it up for like 3 or 4 days ad free so the members can go watch it without having to watch ads. And then when I make it live for everybody else, I'll turn on the ads, take whatever pennies that YouTube wants to throw my way. Now, that video is the Rise and Grind Challenge wrap-up video that I actually recorded a couple of weeks ago, but I didn't have time to get it edited and put up. And it's a long one. It's like 2 hours long. So I've already said, moving forward, for the long format videos, they're not going to be so long. I'm going to do the same thing I've been doing and just kind of sit down on whatever day I feel like talking and organize my thoughts and talk about a bunch of stuff. But instead of uploading a 2-hour long video where I talk about a bunch of different things, I'm just going to break it up into topics. And then I'm just going to cut that out into separate videos. Maybe 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. I don't know. Anywhere between 10 and 20 minutes is kind of like the sweet spot from what I see that people's attention spans can be held if you've got a good topic and you've got some cool stuff to talk about. So that's what I'm going to do moving forward. And I'm going to try to do more editing and just kind of get into a different flow with it. Regardless of the shadow ban and all the crap that YouTube does to my account, I'm just going to, they say doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result is the definition of insanity. And so I'm just going to do different things and we'll see what happens. I don't know what the result will be, but getting back to the channel memberships, all you got to do is where you see the subscribe button here. If you're this is the desktop view. On the mobile view, you're going to, on your phone, you're going to see it a little bit different, but there's a join button there, right there. And if you click on that, you'll get a couple of options. $2 a month is the basic membership. I wasn't even going to do this channel memberships thing. But YouTube gave me a bonus for turning it on, a financial bonus that was significant. And so I turned it on. Some people joined, and I don't know when, but I've been doing, I was doing members only live streams on the weekends where we would do a 3-hour stream just for the channel members. And if you think I don't have a filter when I talk to you guys, the filter is completely off. Whatever happens in the members only live stream stays in the members only live stream. But it's gotten to the point where I'm trying to juggle too many things at once. And so I had to cut that out of Sundays so that I could do other things. And so I'm wondering, channel members, throw in your 2 cents in the comments or in the chat, whatever, if you're watching the replay of this. I'm thinking about doing this live stream on Wednesdays, but there's a button that I can hit somewhere. I don't even know how yet. I'd have to figure it out. But there's a way that I can switch it over so that it's only members after, like, say, 2 hours of a live stream, and then we do an hour for the members, just the private members only for the last hour. YouTube has mechanisms to do that. I don't know. There's like 10 different ramifications for that. Like for the live streams, I never turn on ads. I don't like the way YouTube does ads on live streams. It cuts the stream off. You disappear to watch an ad for 30 seconds to a minute or two, and then you come back and you've missed like 2 minutes of the live stream and whatever we're talking about. And I think that's lame. So I don't turn them on. For the replays of the stream, I turn on the ads because when you're watching a live stream replay and you see an ad, when you hit the skip button or whatever, it picks up where it left off. You don't miss anything. So I've never turned on ads for the live stream just for that reason. If they had like the little corner ads and stuff like that, like the ones that you get the little dot 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 menu and you make them go away or whatever. But I always recommend use Brave when you're on YouTube. Now, YouTube and Brave are going to war with each other, and YouTube's constantly trying to figure out how to block Brave from watching videos with that web browser. And then Brave turns around and fixes it. And they keep going back and forth. But typically, if you look at a video with Brave, you don't got to watch any ads. And so, just, I make the money off of the YouTube ads, and I'm telling you how to get away without watching them because, that's the family friendly service that we run over here. But anyway, Meme Team 6, back to that, and X. I'm growing my X account. My YouTube is pretty much dead in the water right now, so X is growing, and I've got a plan. I'm just trying to build the numbers up for now. Then I'm going to start doing YouTube Shorts videos and using those to reboot my TikTok and my X account and even YouTube itself. And the only thing stopping me from doing anything I'm trying to do is time. How much time in the day? How much time do we got in a week? But when you're dealing with bugs, like I said, Airtable, 50,000 records in a database. Now, a database, to have 50,000 records in a database is like nothing. You should be able to hold 50 million records in a database before it starts conking out. Maybe Microsoft Access, no. Notion, definitely not. I had a Notion database with like 2,500 records in it, and it was starting to flake out really bad, which is why I had to switch my accounting to using Quicken instead of Notion. Airtable, though, all it is memes and some keywords and a couple of other bits of information about each image. And as soon as I crossed over 5,000 records, the whole database just started to bog down, and I'm having all kinds of problems with it. I've been able to work around. That's what you have to do now. They're never going to fix the bugs. So what you have to do is when you run into software that has bugs, you have to find out how to continue using the tool in spite of the bugs, because you still have to get your job done at the end of the day. And so, but it takes time out of your week, time out of your day. So, and I'm telling you, every piece of software I use anymore is a bug-riddled piece of trash. I had to use Grammarly. I have a client who I help with his writing. I helped him write a book. I help him with blog posts. I help him with a lot of different things. And I have a paid Grammarly account because I use it. But that was full of bugs on Thursday. Just trying to put a link in some text in the Grammarly version, the document that I save in the Grammarly app, caused all kinds of formatting problems with text. But it wouldn't affect copying and pasting the document into Substack, which is the blog platform that I was writing it for. But thank God I put it in Grammarly in the first place, because my client can also log into Substack and also manipulate his documents at the same time I am. And sometimes he'll come in and make a bunch of edits while I'm still working on it. And then I have to go through the history and use a bunch of other tools to figure out what the differences are between what he did and I did. And things are kind of messy. So I like having a separate copy of these posts in a space that only I can touch. That way I have the clean, edited, finished version of it if I ever have to go back and restore that. Um, and then Friday. I mean, Thursday I really didn't do much other than I spent the entire day editing blog posts on Thursday. Um, Friday, though, I had some glitches and not necessarily software. I mean, I'm sure the glitches were software related, but not, well, human and software related. Amazon. How bad? Am I the only one who notices Amazon's gone downhill rapid? Like within the last couple of years, Amazon's quality of service has dropped off a cliff. And I have two reasons for that. Well, three. I'm going to say three reasons for that. Number one, the main reason is because our economy is completely dependent on companies ripping you off. So think about it. Companies get to a point where they have so many customers and they're doing so much business that the term I like to use is they get too big to care. They're so big that if they lose 1 million customers a day, they don't care because they have so many customers, it doesn't even matter to them anymore. Amazon had AI writing their code, and the AI bot made a mistake that caused Amazon to lose $100 million, and they didn't even care. They're like, whatever, it's only 100. How many companies out there struggle to make $1 million in a year? And Amazon's like $100 million mistake to them is like, oh, whatever, it's gives a shit. It's just 100 million. So they've gotten too big to care. Number two, the CEO of Amazon, I used to work for his sister. His sister is like the biggest piece of trash human being I ever met in the business world in my life. Hands down. One of the worst human beings I ever met. And I'm not even going to get into the details of that because it would take me an hour to tell the whole story. But when I know that her brother is the CEO of Amazon now, I'm like, yeah, it runs in the family. He's probably a total piece of shit. And he's all about, like this private equity that comes in and runs companies into the ground, guts them so that the ownership walks away with a ton of money, but the company gets buried and bankrupted. Yeah. JS says any company without a customer service number like Google or YouTube, which is also Google, too big to care. Of course. Of course. Yeah. I mean, I will not sign up for anything with Google that I have to pay for ever again. But yeah, now with YouTube, if I have a problem with YouTube, I do have a human being I can reach out to via email, but chances are that person's not even going to help me because they don't care. They don't care. And Running with Scissors, another OG, showed up in the house. Hey, Adam and everybody, what's going on? Just wanted to give you that shout. But yeah, Amazon's gotten much worse since Andy Jassy took over. And I'm not saying that Jeff Bezos is a good guy. Like, don't get me. Don't make that. Don't put those words in my mouth because he's a horrible person too. But Jeff Bezos had a reputation for being obsessed with customer service, and any company that he ever ran, that was his priority, was good customer service. And I've noticed that the customer service has gone downhill since he stopped being CEO. And you've basically got there's something I want to say. I'm not going to say it. This guy whose only priority is pinching pennies, and we'll just leave it at that. All he cares about is the bottom line financially. He doesn't care about the customers. He doesn't care about the employees. Doesn't give a shit about the quality. Nothing. All he cares about is that stock price. How much hookers and blow can I get in my pockets this week? And that's all he gives a fuck about. But companies, that leads to the third thing. Or the point is the companies, when they get too big to care, when they get that big, the market is saturated. They've basically gone as far as they can go. How do they grow? How do they become more valuable? Because especially when it's a publicly traded company, they are under an obligation by law to for the shareholders. They answer to the shareholders. That stock price has to go up and up and up and up and up. They have to do whatever it takes to make that company become more valuable. And a lot of these companies, the only way that they can make the company more valuable is by ripping you off. We see it all over the place. You pay more, you get less. Ship all the jobs to China and slave labor overseas. Ship all the customer service off to India. Or even worse, have AI bots take over. Get rid of all the human being programmers, replace it with AI. More expensive products, bigger bottle with less stuff in it, more expensive. Like all the games that they play to rip you off. And that makes everybody mad. And all of you are pissed off about that. But how many of you tell me about your 401ks and your retirement and all that? So think about this. Like, if all the companies stopped ripping us off and provided good quality for the money and good value for money, and then your stock prices start to drop or stagnate, and your 401k doesn't grow, and your retirement accounts and your stock portfolio doesn't grow, then you're all going to be pissed off about that. So which one do you want? In order for you to be able to retire with your 401k and make money in the stock market, which is basically one step above going to Las Vegas and rolling the fucking dice anyway, in order for you to be able to grow your portfolio, you have to allow these companies to rip you off. They're hand in hand. If the companies aren't out there to rip you off, then their stock price stagnates and your retirement account goes to shit. And you're going to be mad either way. So you're going to be mad if you can't retire because your stock price has dropped. You're going to be mad if you can retire, but everything's more expensive and you're being ripped off at every turn. So choose your poison. Our whole economy is propped up and based on companies ripping us off. And as soon as we take away their ability to rip us off, the economy will implode. And we'll be back to Black Tuesday again and the Great Depression all over again, which we're already seeing it, but it'll get worse. So we're in a situation we can't win. So just hold on to the fucking bar of the roller coaster and hope you don't fall off the ride, because that's about it. And it's not the modern roller coaster with the shoulder thing that comes down and the smooth steel tracks. No, this is a wooden roller coaster with a rusty fucking chain with one of those little hooks like you have at the end of a dog leash going across your lap. It's this big wooden fucking thing with splinters and rotten wood, and this thing was built in 1902. Yeehaw! Let's go. Those are the scary roller coasters. Those are the ones you don't know if you're going to die. Anytime you ride on one of those, you're rolling the dice. That's the roller coaster ride we're on right now. But so anyway, all the software, Amazon, last Friday. Now it turned out to be a blessing in disguise. But I ordered so I have a pothos in my bathroom plant, and the thing's growing so fast. It's got vines on it that are 2.5, 3 feet long all of a sudden. When I bought the thing 2 months ago, and it's grown 2 feet, 2.5 feet in the span of 2 months. And I don't have any place to put the vines. So it's on the edge of my bathtub, and it's a perfect spot for this plant. So I needed to get a shower curtain rod that I could put vertical going from the bathtub to the ceiling, tension rod, so that I have a place to strap the vines to with plant straps, Velcro straps for plants. And then I can train the vine to go up to the ceiling. And then I'm going to just train the vine to go all the way around my shower and make it like, poison ivy shower eventually. And probably won't take that long. At the speed this thing's growing, it's insane to watch this thing grow. And the plant loves it there. So I ordered a shower curtain rod on Amazon and some Velcro straps. Well, it was an overnight delivery, one of those ones where they'll drop it off at 4 in the morning. So when I woke up, Amazon, the driver, left my package at the end of the driveway, just in the middle of the fucking driveway. Like he just drove by the house and tossed it out the window of his car, didn't even get out of his fucking car, took a cell phone picture out the window of the car and drove off. And somebody ran over my fucking package. Everything in the package was destroyed. And so I got on with customer service with Amazon because not only was I going to return my product, I was going to make a return, but whenever they do something like that bad, I always get extra money out of it. I've gotten so much crap for free on Amazon. It's ridiculous, but it's like every other order gets messed up now. Like if I order 4 orders, 2 of them are going to get screwed up really bad to the point where I'm going to complain. I can tell you the shortcut. You basically go to the Alexa. It used to be called Rufus, but I guess I called it stupid. Enough people told them that was a stupid name. They turned it into Alexa. But there's an Alexa button in the navigation of Amazon. You go there and you just keep saying human, 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 human. And you do that like 10 times, a customer service person will finally show up from India, Ranjit or Ahmed or whoever the fuck it is. And, and then they're like, oh, well, rest assuredly, I'm assuredly so sorry. And rest assuredly, I will assuredly fix your situation. Assuredly this time, whatever, they got their script. But I'll get like $25 a pop every time I complain to them about something like this, on top of the refunds and everything else I got coming to me. So I got to take this crushed package to Kohl's, which is the closest place I can make an Amazon return. And so I had to go grocery shopping that day anyway. So I'm like, yeah, I'll go to Kohl's. I'll go to Home Depot. Because I'm starting to replace a lot of stuff with Home Depot. Home Depot does same-day delivery now, which is even faster than Amazon. If they have it in the store, they'll deliver it to you. And there's no minimum order as far as I know, and it's free delivery. It could be free over $25. I don't know. All I know is I've had a few deliveries from Home Depot, and they were on point. So there's times where I'll go there instead of looking on Amazon. I mean, not that I do not like Home Depot. I hate Walmart. I can't stand any of these big box stores. Any of these big businesses, I'm tired of them all. But what do? We live in America. I mean, when you need something, where are you going to go? It's not like there's a mom and pop shop you can go buy from anymore. So you just got to choose your poison, which well you're going to drink out of today. They've all been shat in and pissed in and poisoned. Pick one. So I went to Kohl's. I dropped off the returns. Didn't see any other reason to stay there. Went to Home Depot. Got a better, much, much, much better shower curtain rod. More expensive. But so anyway, I added up. So my Amazon return was like $30, but the shower curtain rod at Home Depot was like $40. So I'm like, I'm already $10 above my Amazon purchase. I'm getting $30 back, but I'm spending $10 more. And I'm like, well, okay, fine. And then I go to the plant section, and they had some of the Velcro straps for the plants, and they were the right size that I needed. And they had like a regular one, and then they had like the deluxe, and the deluxe was a couple bucks more. But I'm like, well, I like the color, I'll get the deluxe. And so when I go and I ring it up, I've heard of Home Depot where they have like penny items, and if you know how to read the price tags on things, you can find a bunch of crap that you can buy for a penny, and they're not supposed to sell it to you. Like, it's kind of like they're supposed to take it off the shelves and the employees aren't supposed to let you buy it. But I go and I ring up my shower curtain rod, and the Velcro straps for the plants rang up as a penny. And I'm like, boom! I'm like, I've never had a penny item at Home Depot before. So I'm like, oh, yes. And then I'm like, I got to go get them all. But I remembered this was the only roll on the rack of that type, the more expensive plant straps. And so maybe somebody already knew that they would ring up as a penny, and they grabbed them all but one. I don't know, but I got lucky. So I ended up spending $10 more than Amazon to get what I needed, but the stuff was way better than what I got on Amazon. So I was happy. But then I go out into the parking lot, and I get to my car, and I look up, and I'm like, oh my God, the whole side of my car is caved in. Like somebody in a giant pickup truck or something just drove and scraped the corner of their bumper along my back door, the passenger door, and all the way down the entire length of the fucking car. And I'm like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. And there's nobody around. Like, whoever it was just took the fuck off. And I'm looking around. There's one of these. Now, I'm not all about these Palantir cameras, but there's a big ass Palantir camera with the solar panels and the flashing blue light on a big post in the middle of the parking lot looking right at me. And so I'm like, well, if this is a hit and run, I mean, they're going to have a full documentation of what just happened here in the parking lot, license plates and everything else. And then I look a little bit closer, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm looking inside the car, and I'm looking at the dashboard, and I'm like, where the fuck did that come from? And then I look up, and like my car is like 6 parking spots away from it. There was an identical car. It was an identical car to my car. Like, same model, same year, same color, everything. I mean, it looked exactly like my car, with the whole passenger side of the car smashed up, like somebody just completely destroyed it with a pickup truck and drove off. And then I'm looking up, but then I look in the windows, and I'm like, I'm seeing things that I mean, that's not mine. And my car isn't that dirty on the inside. I'm like, wait a minute, what the? And then I look up, and I'm like, oh shit, there's my car. Like, even the license plate on the back and the bolts holding on the license plate, like, it looked the same as my car. I thought it was my car. And my heart sank because I'm like, shit, I just took full coverage off of that car because it's not worth paying for. I'm screwed. But no, my car was like 6 parking spaces away. And I always lose this car in parking lots because a 4-door black sedan, oh my God, do you know how many of those are in every parking lot in America right now? There's like 150 of them in every parking lot. They all look the same. So I never know where the fuck my car is anymore. Like, if you drive a bright yellow Jeep Wrangler, a bright yellow Mini Cooper, a big white Nissan Frontier camper truck with a silver ARE shell on the back, every vehicle I've ever owned looks very unique, and you can spot it from a quarter mile away. Now I drive a 4-door black sedan that looks like 100 other cars in every parking lot, and I never know where the hell my car is anymore. It's crazy. I've never had to pay that much attention to where I parked until I bought this car, because it looks like so many other cars, to the point where I thought my car got completely destroyed, and here my car was like just over there, just perfectly fine. So then I go to the grocery store, and I get this. I looked in my email. But I shouldn't have done that, but it worked out. I got the return notice from Amazon that I'd been refunded, but only from one of the items. I returned 2 items, and one of them wasn't refunded yet. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, the fuck you are? And so I get on with customer service, and they're telling me, oh, there's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can do. And I'm like, no. I'm like, you're going to fix this right now, or I'll cancel my Amazon Prime account and this and it's all empty threats. They know it. Where are you going to go? I'm going to cancel my Amazon account and then I'll never be able to buy anything anymore because it's the only place that you can go fucking buy anything. Amazon, Walmart, Home Depot, there you go. Well, if you cancel them all, where are you going to go? Where are you going to go? They know. They know they got the monopoly too. That's why they're treating everybody like garbage now. So I'm here at the grocery store and I just pull my cart over and I'm like on the customer service chat with Ahmed over in Timbuktu. And I'm like, no, you're going to fix this shit now. And so for like 15 minutes, I'm there arguing with them. And I'm being polite. I'm not like screaming at them. I'm not, verbally, I'm not typing in all caps or, I'm not going crazy, but I'm firm and I'm being a dick. And I'm like, I'm not going to let this go. You're going to fix. They told me I might have to wait 2 weeks to get my refund. I'm like, no, I'm going to wait about a minute and a half and you're going to fix this. So they fixed it. And then they gave me $20 in credit on my account as a make good for my trouble. So when it was all said and done, that $20 extra that I got, I was already $10 over because I took the items back to Amazon, got my $30 back, spent $40 at Home Depot, should have been $50, but with the penny item, that was basically free. So I ended up being 10 over. So it was $40, took back $30, spent 40. So I'm $10 over. And then Amazon gives me $20 for my trouble. And now I'm like $10 less. When all the math is done mathing, it all worked out. And so even though it was a glitch and it was annoying, because like I said, the Amazon driver, he just tossed that thing out the window of his car that morning and drove off. He didn't even get out of his car. I can tell you, it was in the middle of my driveway, at the end of the driveway. Somebody left and ran it over. Probably didn't see it. And everything in the package was destroyed. And it was because the delivery driver was a dipshit. And which is fine because it all worked out better. The stuff that I got from Home Depot was better. And so now my plant is all taken care of and I've got the vines all trellised up and they're growing like crazy. They've already grown like 4 inches just in the past week, not even a week. All the empty space that the plant, like it was all kind of it was looking weird because I rearranged all the vines and stuff and it looked kind of crummy. Within 48 hours, a whole bunch of new leaves just went boof, filled up the empty space. And now it looks like it's been like that for months. Like this plant grows fast. This plant is an amazing, fast growing plant. I'm going to say by the end of summer, that vine will be all the way up to the ceiling of my bathroom. It's actually multiple vines, but one of them's longer than the others. But all of them are going to be at least halfway up. And 1 or 2 of the vines are going to be running across the ceiling at some point. Hey, what's up, Andrew B996? Hey, another one of the older OGs of the channel popping in. What's going on? Good to hear it. He said he's good. And so that was Friday. What else? Like I said, I've been editing a client's blog post, and I'm using a combination of Acrobat, Substack, Grammarly, and then when I told you that we were having conflicts where the client was going in and making edits at the same time I was, and I'm looking in the version history, and I'm like, this is my last version. He just went and made 4 edits. So I use this app called Beyond Compare, which can take 2 text files next to each other. It's mostly for comparing code, one version of a file with another. But if I copy and paste all the text from a blog post like that, left side is my version, right side is the edited version that somebody else did, it will tell me line by line what was changed. Any differences that it finds in version A or B, it highlights them with a different color. It puts arrows in, and it gives you tools to merge them together into one clean version. But all I needed to see was what are the differences here? Bug in terms of bugs, what are the bugs that go with that? Acrobat is a pain. Acrobat is for viewing files, but if somebody sends you a PDF that you actually have to pull stuff out of, that can be difficult. Just copying and pasting text from Acrobat into another app can be a big pain in the ass. If it's a multi-page document, it's almost impossible to select all the text at once. Substack, his article went live, but he still wanted to make edits. When you're in the edit stage, the draft stage on Substack, every time you edit something, it automatically saves it. Well, I had been working on the live version of this article in a browser window for 4 hours. And I almost closed the browser window by accident, but I still had it in my head that it would have been auto-saved. Thank God I did not close that window. No, I would have had the changes saved elsewhere. But in order to repair the job, in order to repair what would have been broke, I would have been banging my fist on the desk and spending another 2 hours to fix it. I found out by doing some homework when I almost closed the window by mistake. I decided to look into this, and I'm like, because the article is live, you have to actually hit the save button for those changes to be saved. And I'd been working on this for 4 hours, and if I'd closed that window, everything I did would have been gone. The changes would have been in Grammarly in a document there, but to merge the two, it would have been, I wasn't having it. That would have been bad. So you got to save frequently is the name of the game. But it behaves totally different when the article is live and you go to edit a live article versus editing a draft. And so, but they don't tell you that. You just get to discover that on your own. And speaking of Grammarly, so I have a quarterly subscription. Every 3 months I get billed by Grammarly. And so, for those of you who just popped in, I basically documented all the bugs and glitches in software that I dealt with between last week's live stream and today. Not because I just want to sit around and complain, but because I'm just I figured it would be a good demonstration of here's the problems that we're all dealing with when it comes to using software, because all of our lives depend on software now. And it's built so bad that I'm just documenting day by day how many problems I had each day because of software bugs. And so Friday was also the day that my Grammarly subscription was supposed to renew. And I have this bank here in Texas that I absolutely hate this bank, but I barely use it anymore. And I just need to I'm not even $1,000 right now. Money has been tight for months. And I need to get a certain amount of money in the bank. Then I'm going to open up a new account at another bank. And I already have the bank picked out. But you go through, anytime you open up a new account these days, you go through this probationary period as a new customer where if you make a deposit, they won't make your funds available for a ridiculous amount of time and just other weird things like that. And so I need to open up a new account, but I need to just kind of let some money sit in that account for a few months or whatever every bank's going to have different rules about their stuff. Like this bank that I'm talking about now, this Texas bank. When I opened up my account, I deposited 3 cashier's checks into that bank account to open the account. Not personal checks, cashier checks. And they put a 21-day hold on that deposit. As a new customer, they would not let me have the money I just deposited in that bank for 21 days. It only takes 3 days for them at the most. Honestly, it's like 24 hours now for a bank when they submit a check through the system, routing number, account number, the bank that they're taking the money from. They had the money from the bank that those checks were written on within 24 hours. Why do they got to hold my shit for 21 days and not let me have the funds? So those are the kinds of things that some of these banks do. Every bank's different. This one sucks. And so Grammarly goes to renew my account, and I forgot about this. I need to switch it to a different card. My bank blocks the transaction every single time Grammarly renews my subscription. This bank in Texas blocks the transaction, flags it as fraudulent. And I'm like, you can see from my records that every single time this transaction comes through, I approve it. But I have to go through a hassle so that you will pay the fucking. So this bank sucks. This bank sucks so much balls. I can't. But I'm not really using the bank right. If I was using the bank more, I have another account that I use at a different bank primarily. And this is just like my local Texas account. And so I want that ability to go into a bank in person with a paper check in my hand and deposit it into an account if I need that, and other things that I might need to go do something in person at a bank. But I don't want it to be this bank anymore. They suck. They suck. And the thing is, if you're a customer who's never done anything wrong, never bounced a check, never had an overdraft, I've never done anything wrong. Anytime I go into this fucking bank, I'm treated like a criminal. I mean, granted, I am a criminal, but I've paid my debt to society mostly. And either way, I shouldn't be treated like a criminal to go take money out of my own bank account or put money into my account. But every single time I have to deal with this bank, including Grammarly wanting to take my payment for my subscription, turns into a big hassle. So that was something I had to deal with. I had to log into the bank account. I had to do all this bullshit just to get them to be able to charge the money. And if my mind had been thinking about this a couple days beforehand, I could have just switched it to a different card and avoided that hassle. But now I'll just wait another 3 months and then I'll remember, oh crap, again. So either way, that happened on Friday. And so anyway, that was that was Friday. That was the whole, like, it was a weird day. It was a weird day, but it really wasn't like everything just worked out at the end of the day. Like, I didn't really get too upset. It was just like frustrating because it's like, there's more time out of my day. More time out of my day I got to spend because, people can't do their job. And it adds up, Every time you got to deal with a software bug, a broken system, a douchebag Amazon driver tossing your box out the window of his car instead of delivering it, so that, so everything gets smashed and you have to take it back to Kohl's. Everything that, all these things add up. And at the end of a week, how much time did I spend? If I added up the time, it might be an 8-hour day that I lost dealing with all kinds of these problems. And like I said in the beginning of the show, it's not like, back in the day of Little House on the Prairie days, people were still dealing with bullshit, we're in a drought, all the crops died, our family's going to starve, or there's too much rain, it flooded, or we lost all our crops, the family's going to starve. The horse got some sort of disease. We can't get into town now because we don't have a fucking horse. All the cows got sick, the fucking wheel fell off our covered wagon, like whatever the fuck. I mean, there's problems. We got attacked by fucking Indians, that are mad that we built a little house on the prairie and it was an Indian burial ground. How the fuck was I supposed to know that? So there's been problems even before we had our first computer. And people been dealing with bullshit for the test of time. Um, how many people in fucking China were just minding their own business when Genghis Khan and his fucking hooligans came rolling into town on their horses and set the whole fucking town on fire, raped all the women, killed all the fucking men, and took the fuck off. You know what I mean? Like shit. Like there's no. What's the difference? So, we've always had problems. So I'm not like I'm just trying to I just decided it would be interesting to document all of the glitches and bugs that I deal with in the span of a week and actually just take note of them as they happen. And at the end of the day, just be like, oh yeah, here's all the glitches I remember from today. Um, the day that times that we live in kind of suck, right? I mean, we have the capabilities we have the capability and the technology and the know-how and we could live in paradise right now, but we got a bunch of satanic child molesting billionaire scumbags in charge who just want it all for themselves. They don't want us to live, but they want them to live well while the rest of us eat shit, eat bugs, and serve them and wait on them hand and foot. And as soon as they get the robots good enough to do that, they're going to kill us all. And so we have to deal with that. But it doesn't have to be that way. We're supposed to have, according to the Jetsons and all the shows about the future when I was a kid, we were supposed to have fucking robots doing all our chores now. But instead, they've got robots to take all the good jobs so that the only jobs you can get are cleaning toilets and doing fucking chores. And the only robot that we got to do any chores is that stupid little fucking hockey puck on the floor, the Roomba, that just bounces off the fucking wall all day and doesn't clean any fucking dirt. Like, this is not what, this was false advertising. Anybody who's Gen X, you know the future we grew up being told we were going to have, other than like the Terminator, RoboCop, and some of these other shitty dystopian movies that, they kind of did prepare us for what was coming. But no, man, we were supposed to have robots doing our chores. We were supposed to have sex robots by now that you couldn't even tell that they were fake. Like, you wouldn't even be able to tell one apart from a real woman anymore. And the only one who's got that is Elon Musk. Has probably got a bunch of those at his house, but that's it. Yeah, we were supposed to have a city on the moon. We were supposed to be able to go on vacation to Mars. Like, we got fucked. We got totally fucked. Well, then comes Saturday. My notes say that Saturday started out real bad from the moment I woke up. And I will not even dig into the reasons why. And to be honest, I don't even remember why. I don't even remember why Saturday morning was so bad. Because I've already put it out in my head. I just had that in my notes. I'm looking at it and I thought that was kind of funny. Let's see here. So Adobe Premiere, another piece of work, software. Oh my God, I've had so many bugs. This is a buggy app. Adobe Premiere is riddled with bugs. And the newest version that I just installed, a lot of times with Adobe software or just about any other software, I always keep the older versions installed until I know for sure that the new version's okay. Especially Adobe. And so that Saturday morning, I had to convert 8 of my clients' horizontal long format videos into vertical format, mainly because Facebook wants them to be vertical. And if you upload horizontal video, handy tip, if you upload horizontal format videos to Facebook now, they will penalize you in the algorithm just for the horizontal format. They won't distribute the video. They won't let your people see them. They only want you to upload vertical format videos now. And it's just because the number of mobile users outweighs the number of desktop users. But for YouTube and for Substack and some other platforms, horizontal is still the better format. I mean, people are watching YouTube on their TVs now. Those are horizontal. Desktop computers, horizontal. Um, so it's like, basically, I mean, if you're in a perfect world and you're doing everything right, you almost need to make a horizontal and a vertical format video for everything you do. Because people are too fucking lazy to take a phone and go like this to watch a video. Like, I don't get it. I prefer horizontal videos, period. I don't like vertical videos. I just don't like them. And that's my personal preference. But when people are doom scrolling, TikTok is the reason. All this short attention span bullshit has to be vertical format so that it fills the screen on the phone without, because people are too, like I said, people are too lazy to take their phone and go like that to watch a fucking video. So you have to make them vertical. And so anyway, it shouldn't have been a big deal, but right away I ran into a bug in Premiere where it totally screwed up the bounding boxes of all of my placed clips on the timeline. And I could not accurately position things on the timeline anymore, because when you change something that's horizontal and make it vertical, it gets narrow. And now I have to take a video that was shot horizontal. I have to like cut it up and make sure that the right thing is centered in the screen, and it's a chop job. And to make a vertical video from a horizontal video, you've got to do a lot of editing. And there was this massive bug in Premiere that caused it so that I couldn't do that. And I spent at least an hour and a half trying to work around that bug. And I found my way around it, but I lost like an hour and a half of my life on that. And I was almost to the point where I would have to redo every video manually from scratch, instead of taking an existing video, turning it vertical, and just kind of manipulating the X coordinates of the and the scale of the video on the timeline with different keyframes and stuff like that. It's not as complicated as even that, but it was the difference between having to take like maybe an hour to fiddle with each video versus like 4 hours per video if I couldn't get around this bug. And I just came to the conclusion, I'm like, I know I haven't gone a single day, not one single day since I got out of prison, where I haven't dealt with at least one major software bug that stops me dead in my tracks. I was dealing with them before I even came home, because the transportation to get home from prison left me stranded in Bridgeport, Connecticut because of software and timing issues and a train being late. And like, I've not had one day since August 2nd of 2024 where my day wasn't completely riddled with dealing with some sort of software glitch or bug that, wasn't my fault, but I have to, basically, you got to figure out how to make it work. I can use the analogy of, let's say you work in an auto garage, and every time you get a wrench from Snap-on Tools, you pay $600 for a freaking box wrench, and you work on 2 cars and it breaks. And then you got to call the Snap-on guy, and he shows up with his truck, and you got to argue with him for 3.5 hours because they don't want to replace the tool, and they try and tell you that you used it wrong. It's like, bitch, it's a wrench. I turned a fucking bolt and it broke. Like, how quickly would your auto repair business go down the toilet if you couldn't buy a tool that you could use on more than 2 cars? But that's kind of how they're building everything now. The cars don't even last. You buy a brand new car and it needs a new transmission 20,000 miles after you bought it. That was like, back in the 70s and the 80s, they were building cars like that. But then in the 90s, mid 90s to the early 2000s, Toyota, Honda, some of the other companies, they were starting to build cars that 300,000 miles or more. You could drive some of these Toyotas, you could go 200,000 miles without changing the oil, and it probably wouldn't even be a big deal. It would still run. Not advisable to do that, but these cars were that reliable. And then all of a sudden, the manufacturers were like, no, we can't do that for the reasons I stated earlier. If we build cars that last 300,000 miles, someone's going to buy a car from us and they're not going to be a customer again for 25 years. So we need to start building cars that die in 30 to 50,000 miles. And we need to make them so hard to repair that nobody can fix them. And so, you need a new spark plug. Oh, fuck it. You need a new car. It's gotten to the point where you need a new battery in a BMW. If you need to replace the battery, which is I'm not talking about an electric car. I'm talking about a gasoline engine needs a new battery. I mean, that happens. You have to go to the fucking dealership, because if you put a new battery in the BMW reads the battery and decides it's not the same battery that used to be in the car. The whole fucking car shuts down. It has to be hooked up to a special computer and reprogrammed to read the codes from the new battery you just put in, or the car won't fucking operate. Before, you just take the cables off, put the new fucking battery in, put the cables back on, boom, your car is back together. Like, they've made it so that you can't even change the fucking battery. I mean, they're gonna make it so you got to go to the fucking dealership to get a tank of gas. The gas will be $15 a gallon plus $75 labor. And you know what I mean? Just to get a tank of gas from the dealership, because they're the only ones with the tool to take the gas cap off the fucking car. Like, they're getting so ridiculous with these fucking cars now. New pickup trucks, $100,000. Are you fucking kidding me? Who the fuck is buying these things? And then you pay $100,000 for a Ford pickup truck. That used to be fucking Lamborghini and Ferrari money. Now it's a Ford pickup truck for $100,000. And 20,000 miles later, the transmission's dead. And it needs a new transmission. Like, are you out of your fucking minds? These fucking companies. And so they're doing that kind of with everything, and like I said, my life, your life, all of our lives revolve around all this broken shit all the time. And I have not gone one day since I got home from prison without my day having a major interruption due to some broken piece of software, even if I'm having a day where I'm trying to avoid using software altogether. Like I said, if you worked in an auto garage and every time you use a wrench, you get 3 times to use your snap-on wrench, and then snap, it snaps. Your snap-on wrench snaps, and you got to spend $900 on a new fucking wrench. I mean, how quickly would it get to the point where you can't run your business anymore if your tools don't even work anymore? So when it comes to software, like when you hire me, for example, I have a digital marketing business now. When you hire me to do this kind of work for you, just keep in mind that it could be up to 50% of the time I'm spending on a project. You're basically paying me to take on the pain of figuring out all the broken shit that you would have to figure out how to get through yourself just to be able to get your project done. Because every tool that you use, every piece of software you use, every platform that you subscribe to and use, everything is just broken garbage stacked on top of trash, on top of garbage. And so you're basically, whether it's me or whoever you hire to do the kind of work I do, you're basically paying for somebody to figure that out for you and to take on the headache and the burden of wading through the sewer. It's like when Luke Skywalker and Han Solo and Princess Leia and Chewbacca were in the garbage chute of the Death Star, and that lizard's thing is swimming around with them in the trash, and then the trash compactor starts squishing everything together. That's kind of what it's like. Like, I'm just digging around in the trash trying to figure out how to cobble some shit together that works. And at the end of the day, you'll get something good that's impressive, but it's tough. It's tough. And And, software has never been perfect. I'm not saying that there was a day that software, I mean, you all remember the blue screen of death on Windows. You'd be going along your merry way, and all of a sudden, blue screen, boom, everything's done. You got to reboot your machine. There's, a 10% chance your machine won't even ever start up again after that. So it's not, nothing new under the sun. But the technology keeps getting better. The hardware, when it comes to computers, the computers keep getting faster. The technology keeps improving. The hardware side of things have gone very advanced, but the software side is in decline. It's like the technology and the faster processors, the faster technology allows for bad programming now, because code can be bloated, poorly written, not optimized at all, and it'll run fast because the hardware will just force it to run fast. Whereas back in the day when our hardware wasn't as good, you had to write clean code, you had to write good code, or the software wouldn't run because the processors weren't powerful enough, the hard drives weren't fast enough, etc. But now you can just write sloppy ass garbage that's bloated and crap, and it'll run just fine on the surface, but under the hood, it's a mess. It's a complete and total mess. And don't ever expect these companies to fix their products, especially software companies. I think we looked up a Ford F-150 is like 2 million lines of code. It was either 2 million or 12 million lines of code. Do you think there's anybody on the fucking planet that knows what any of that code does? Code. Just the code, the computer software to run your fucking pickup truck is 2 million lines of code. No, there's nobody on the fucking planet. There's nobody at Ford. Nobody has any fucking idea what any of that code does. I guarantee you that code, by the time it's in your pickup truck, nobody has a fucking clue as to what's going on there. It's like we were talking about with the law. They write these laws, Congress, every time they pass a law, it's 15,000 pages of bullshit, and they have to vote on it, and none of them fucking read it. Nancy Pelosi said her famous words when it came to Obamacare. What did she say? She says, we have to pass this law so we can find out what's in it. Bitch, you were supposed to find out what's in it before you fucking vote on it. That's your fucking job. And it's not like you don't make enough money. You make 175 grand a year to work 15 days out of the year to begin with. And then with all your insider trading and bullshit, you went in making 170 grand a year with no money in the bank, and now you're worth $400 million. So don't tell me that you can't fucking set aside the time to read the fucking law that you have to vote on, you fucking cunt. Fuck you. Fuck you. But there's so many laws on the books. The judge has no fucking idea what the law is. The lawyers, the prosecutor doesn't have any fucking idea what the law is. The defense lawyer, they don't have any fucking idea what the law is. The cops don't have any fucking idea what the law is, because it's like 200,000 pages of shit. And if you stacked all those papers up, it would be the height of a 10-story building. Nobody fucking knows. It's totally out of control. Nobody knows what the fuck is going on anymore. But if we just focus on the software companies again, don't expect them to ever fix anything. Whatever it is today, that's what it's going to be. I've worked for a bunch of software companies on the inside, and I can 100% tell you they do not give a fuck about you. They do not give a fuck about you. Once their user base gets large enough to where they're making money, once they get to enough, when they have enough users of their product, they get to a point, like I said earlier, they become too big to care. They know that if they lost half of their customers, sometimes they'll do something that'll cause them to lose half of their customers, but somehow they're making more profit off of the half of the customer base because they did something. They got rid of a bunch of customers by doing something to save money, and it pissed off half the customers and they left, but they're saving money by doing that thing to the point where they're making twice as much money with half of the customers. They'll make these calculated decisions all the time on what's going to make us the most money. Fuck the customer, we don't care. And I've been on the inside, I've been in the meetings, I've sat at the big long fucking table listening to these fucking people talk. And the problem I always had with it is it was always my job to be the guy. My job title was user experience designer. And my job was to give a shit about the user experience, which is the customer experience. Like, my job was to make it a good experience. And they would just be like, we don't give a fuck about them. and I was always at odds with every customer and with every company I ever worked for, because they flat out do not care about their customers. And I'm telling it to you from the CEO's mouth, word for word. One CEO told me, we don't care about our product being a pile of dog shit because all of our competitors' products suck. So why should we make ours any better? It'll cost us X amount of money to make ours better. We just got to patch it. We just got to keep it in about the same level of good as what our competition is. And I'm like, and I'm telling him, I'm like, he's a fucking CEO. And I'm like, so you don't think by making a product that's better than the competition, we could take customers from the competition and increase our market share as a result? But, the CEO, he only sees the pile of cocaine on his desk and how many hookers' tits he can snort it off of. And if that number goes down next week because he's got to pay for some fucking software to get done, Hookers and Blow wins. Hookers and Blow wins the day. So they don't give a fuck about you. They don't give a fuck about you. And here's another thing that they're doing. And I guarantee you, all of you watching, you've had this problem. Tell me in the chat as I talk about it, whether I'm right or wrong. You have a problem with your phone, an app, some setting. You have an iPhone, an Android phone, whatever you got. You got something that it's doing and it's pissing you off. And so you're like trying to figure out how to turn this thing off. They're throwing a bunch of pop-up ads at you all day. How do I turn this crap off? How do I do this? How do I do that? So you go and you look at you look it up on Google, you look it up on AI. AI is just going and reading the company's documentation and telling you a summary of what it finds. How many times do you go and find that the documentation that the company puts out about their own software is like 6 months to 2 years out of date? So it'll say, go to this menu and select that option. And you go into the menu and the option doesn't exist. And the menu, the category is not even there. Nothing that this instruction manual said to do even exists. And then you've got to dig and dig and dig, and you got to go to Reddit, and you got to go to 10 other places, and you find out that, they changed that, and then they moved this over to there, and they changed the name of it, and it's no longer here, it's over here, and it's got a different name, and nothing that they tell you to do to fix the problem, even because the thing doesn't even exist anymore. Instead of go to this menu and select that option, you've got to go to these settings and select those other options that are new and not even worded the same. And nothing looks the same as it does in the documentation because it's all out of date. They just release all this buggy shit out to the world. And they're like, you fucking assholes, figure it out. Fuck you. Like, we're not going to tell you how to use it. You figure it out. That's your job. Bitch, you... It would be like if... And then, like, you go to AI. I mean, this happens all the time to me in AI. AI will tell me, go to this menu and select that option. And I have to go to the AI bot. I say, this menu does not exist. That option does not exist in this menu. And then AI turns around and says, oh, you're completely right. I'm so sorry. That option doesn't exist. Instead, go to this menu and choose that option. And once again, that doesn't work because that doesn't exist. And you run around in circles just the most basic things. Because even on your Android phone, your iPhone, when you go into the settings, there's like 6,000 different fucking settings and options and toggle switches and menus and check boxes to turn on and off and all this shit. And it's all just piled in there. And it doesn't, sometimes it's intuitive and you can figure out where things are. And other times, there's times where I'll spend a whole day of my life just trying to figure out where a fucking toggle switch is, buried in the settings somewhere of some app, just so I can turn something off or on. It's like being an auto mechanic, right? I'll go back to that analogy. What if you had a vehicle come into the shop and the manufacturer sends you the technical specs of that vehicle? And let's say that the vehicle doesn't match up at all with the specs that you got from the manufacturer, to the point where the manufacturer is telling you to open up the hood on the front of the car and look for the oil cap and turn the oil cap counterclockwise and, then put the new oil in or whatever. But the engine's in the back of the fucking car in the trunk. Like, the manufacturer's documentation about that car says open the hood on the front of the car and do this and that, yet the engine's in the back. You have to lift up the fucking trunk in the back of the car to get to the engine. And like, that's how bad the documentation is for software. Like, the companies don't even want to do any documentation at all. And if they can get away with none, they would. Enough customers will complain that they'll have to put some sort of documentation together, but they don't want to pay people to do it. All it would take is a team of like 4 or 5 people to write the fucking instructions and update the shit when the software updates. It's not that hard to do. But having 5 employees on a staff of 2,000 people, that's 5 employees' salaries. That's, you're taking away hookers and blow from the CEO's desk. And once again, they're not going to have it. Like, anything that they don't care. Like, they do not give a shit about you, the customer. And that's how badly I've worked for so many of these companies, and they're all the same. In Premiere, once again, I'm doing this video editing. I had to draw a box on the screen, right? It took me half an hour to figure out, because they moved all the settings around. So I couldn't figure out where the fuck do I specify the width and height of the box. I drew a box on the screen, but you're supposed to be able to go in there and make it an exact width, an exact height, X, Y coordinates and all that stuff. Couldn't find it. Got fucking buried in some crazy ass labyrinth of hidden somewhere. And I had to go to 3 different AI bots and Reddit before I could figure out where to fucking go to type in the width and height of a box. Probably spent half an hour to 45 minutes just figuring out where to put the width and height of a box. And to tell you the truth, I don't even remember right now how to do it. So the next time I have to go figure out the width and height of a fucking box, I'm going to go through the whole process again and have to figure out where is the shit buried, because it's literally a fucking labyrinth in this software. And Muskie Land says, I'm at a point now I'll eventually figure it out. And I do. That's the point. I eventually figure it out, but eventually is the key word. It's like, I'm trying to get work done and I'm spending 3 hours out of my day on dumbass shit like, where do I put the width and height of this box? It should be front and center. It should be easy to do. Even Photoshop, they'll move things around to where, like, what the fuck? I can't do this or that anymore. My preferences got whacked in Photoshop, and I had to start from scratch as if I was a brand new user. And so all your custom settings are gone. I spent a week and a half dealing with one broken thing after the next because the default settings for Photoshop are horrible if you're a professional user. I couldn't even begin to give you, I could probably do a list. If I started doing Photoshop classes on like I'd do a spin-off YouTube channel for that. A completely oh, excuse me. I would do a completely separate channel focused on nothing but teaching you how to use Photoshop and take photography picture, take pictures and edit photos. I could do a 2-hour class on just the settings in Photoshop that you need to change from what the default settings are and why. Hundreds of things. Because if you use the default settings that the software automatically installs, you're going to have a hard time doing so many things that would be very easy if you just tweak the settings too. And really what you're doing when you tweak those settings is you're actually going back in time and setting up Photoshop to be the way it was 10, 15 years ago. Because they always come out with shit that's like new and improved, which means we just made it worse. Whenever you see new and improved on software, roll your eyes because it's new and worse. It's shitty and bad is what that sign should say. It's not new and improved. It used to work, now it doesn't. Photoshop's the king of that. Oh my God, every time they come up with something new, I'm just like, turn this off, turn it off, turn it off, turn it off. and I'm not the only one. You'll go to Reddit and you'll see a 20-page long thread, people pissed off because of this new thing that's supposed to be new and improved, and everybody hates it. And the companies, they just don't give a shit. Like, I don't even know why, but they don't listen to the customers. They definitely don't care. Sometimes you get a group of programmers or designers in a company like that that need to justify their existence. And so they come up with busy work that doesn't need to be done just so that they can give themselves a to-do list in order to keep their job. Kind of like a firefighter in a town that doesn't really burn might go around starting house fires so that he has fires to put out. And then he can be the town hero, save all the babies and the dogs and the cats. But come to find out, he was the one going around starting all the fucking fires. Well, that's what these software companies do. I don't know what. Oh my God. Something's wrong with my throat. I'm talking too much. If we weren't live, I could edit this out. Oh my goodness. All right, so imagine buying with the instructions. Imagine buying a car, and with how complicated these cars are these days. And it no longer comes with the owner's manual that you keep in the glove box. I know most people just keep the owner's manual in the glove box and never even open the thing. But most of the owner's manuals of the cars, they're like this thick, they do have, they will tell you what all the little things on your car do. And all the little buttons and all the little lights on the dashboard and all the things that you can see. They do have a purpose. And, but imagine if they're just like, oh, you figure it out, you fucking peasants. And they don't even tell you how your car works anymore. Muskegee Land says, relearning tech is the hardest thing I've ever done. I've been doing it my whole life. So to me, it's not a problem. But I grew up with computers in my house. My dad was a software engineer. So we had, at one point, I remember when our school had an Apple IIe in the back of the classroom, one computer. At home, we had a Macintosh, we had an IBM PS2, I think that's what it was, but it was a Windows DOS computer, and we had a Sun Unix workstation, and we had a terminal, which was just a keyboard and a modem and a screen that you used a modem to connect to a mainframe computer. We have anywhere from 3 to 5 computers in our house at any given time, all because of what my dad did for a living. And he let me play with them. And even when he didn't let me play with them, like, I used to figure out his passwords. I used to hack into his shit all the time. I I cannot tell you the number of times that he tried to lock me out of a computer, and I would just get right back in because I would guess the password. I would figure it out one way or another. Um, we were all playing Leisure Suit Larry when we weren't supposed to be playing that because that was a game for grown-ups. Here I am in the 6th grade playing a game where your goal is to go bang a bunch of hookers and gamble. um, I had a lot of computer experience. And then when I was in high school, I went to vocational school, and it was like straight up graphic design school. I learned Photoshop inside and out. Um, all of the, all of the, all of the design tools. I took summer classes at RE or RIT that were like special classes where high school kids would get invited to these special programs. I had so many opportunities as a youngster to get immersed in the technology so that when I was an adult, it was like I'd already been steeped in this stuff for like 20 years leading up to it. And so, um, but I mean, it's even hard. It's hard to, it's hard to, what the hell is going on with this fucking bottle? Hmm. Okay. Hmm. All right, here we go. Definitely not going to sleep tonight with the amount of coffee I drank today. But even software is hard. I mean, even me and my best friend's in IT, and it's hard to keep up with this crap. It's hard to keep up with it. Like I said, every time I sit down with a new version of an Adobe tool, whether it be Premiere, Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, it doesn't matter. There's 50 fucking things that I don't know how to do all of a sudden because they changed it or whatever. And I've been doing this stuff for 30 years straight, other than the 2 years I was on vacation. I thought when I came out of prison, I'd be completely useless. And it took me about a week to get back in action. Like, it took me about a week to get to like where I felt normal again at a keyboard. And like, I really, it's like riding a bicycle. You don't forget, but you get a little rusty. But it wasn't hard to get back on my feet in terms of skills. But I've been doing it for 30 years. Up until 26 years at that point. Every single day, just about. So Saturday, I don't know, when I was done, I finished doing work for my client for the whole week on Saturday. And so I just switched over to doing a bunch of shit posting on X, at which point I am if we went live right now to X, just share my screen real quick. I am at 983 followers, and I would have crossed over 1,000 this week, but I didn't put in a lot of time this week. I had other work to do. But like, here's a post. People waited in line for over 4 hours at a Wendy's drive-thru because they had these minions like that. Oh my God, if I was married to some Karen from the fucking suburbs that dragged me out to go look at the stupid ass minions at a fucking Wendy's drive-thru for 4 fucking hours. Here it is. Yeah. So like, yeah, to go through a drive-thru that has these stupid ass minions, and then you get a fucking Happy Meal at the end of it or some shit. They're waiting 4 fucking hours to go through this drive-thru. Like, people got, like, who the fuck has this much time on their hands to go through? Oh wow, look at that. Oh, it's so cool. I mean, that would be if oh my god, if my dumbass suburban housewife um told me I had to go waiting 4 hours to drive through the fucking Minions drive through at Wendy's, I'd be like, you can do it. We're getting divorced. But I'd be like, here, you're gonna sign this divorce paperwork here before you go, because we're done. I don't want to be with that. I'll be fucking single before. Oh my god, I'd be single for the rest of my life. Oh, there's your Happy Meal, you dumb motherfucker. I hope your fucking cheeseburger was worth the 4 hour wait. And you got a Happy Meal toy. Wow. Wow. Could you imagine working at Wendy's that day where the drive through line is 4 hours long? And it's like, okay, what happens if you need to get to work that day? What happens if you got to get to work that day and you can't because there's a 4 hour long, oh, it says 7 hours here. There's a 4 hour long fucking traffic jam to get to Wendy's because all these fucking dingbats, these fucking dumb bitches from the suburb want to get a Happy Meal with a toy in it. Like, whose kids are patient enough to sit in that? Who's got kids that are patient enough to sit in a 4 hour long wait at a drive through to get a Happy Meal and a toy? Like, anyway, X. X. Yeah, that's X for you right there. Um, I wish they would do long format. I wish, because Elon Musk, in my opinion, is the only one out there who could start a platform, who has the backing and the funding and the existing infrastructure to where they could do a competitor to YouTube that would actually dig into the marketplace. He was talking about buying OnlyFans, kicking off all the whores. And I was like, Elon, you should buy OnlyFans, get rid of all the whores, and then use that infrastructure, tag it onto X, link it so that the same user accounts apply to both platforms, and now you've got a long form video content platform that could rival YouTube and actually draw market share away from YouTube because there's nothing else out there. YouTube's a monopoly right now. And the cost and the barrier to entry to get into that space is prohibitively expensive to the point where there's no incentive for anybody to build a competitor because you'd have to sink $1 trillion into it before you ever made a penny. And you would do that and you would only get like 2% of the market share. YouTube would have 98% still. So, but Elon could probably throw his money at it. I mean, he's only a trillionaire now. He's got a few bucks he could toss over onto something like that. I would like to see a competitor to YouTube that actually puts a hurt on them and forces YouTube not to treat creators so shitty. We'll see what happens. Something might, MySpace, all these big Facebook, all the big players, eventually they get too big to care. Somebody does eventually come along to dethrone the king. Something's going to come along to put a hurt on Amazon. I think it'll be the brick and mortar companies like Walmart, Home Depot, the big box stores, because they have the like Home Depot finally figured out, we have giant warehouses all over the fucking country already. We could just do same day delivery. You could have done that 10 fucking years ago, but they didn't. It could have been competing with Amazon a long time ago, and they just figured it out now. Walmart, same thing. They just tap into DoorDash and DoorDash drivers for their deliveries. Ross Will says customers don't care about your past. They're not a Karen from corporate, so glad you leveraged your skills. No, see, that's the thing. The clients that I find don't care about the things that happened in the past. And the nice thing is, like, I'm doing marketing work now, which is different. User experience design for software companies. I'm going into a software giant company that don't give a shit about their customers, blah, 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 big corporate environment. And, if I had a squeaky clean criminal record, they'd be following me around with Big Brother everywhere I go. Watching me on the camera on my laptop all day, tracking my eyeball movements and, My best friend, he had to get a fucking thing called a mouse jiggler so that he can like go away from his desk and the thing moves his mouse around on the desk and makes it look like he's there. Look it up. Go to Amazon, type in mouse jiggler. You'll see what I mean. And you have to do things like that. I don't need no fucking mouse jiggler. If I want to go on a hike in the middle of the day because I need to go out and get some sunshine, I don't gotta nobody who's gonna tattle on me. If I say I'm gonna get something done by a certain time, I gotta do it. But and I'm meeting real people with real businesses and people that I like, to be honest. Like, it's honestly, the people I don't like aren't going to want to hire me. Even if I wanted to work for them, they don't want to hire me. Like, the people that are hiring me to do work for them, they like me, and it ends up being vice versa. We end up being two peas in the same pod most of the time. And they're hiring me to do a job. They could give a shit whether or not I told the FBI to go fuck off and had a tank come into my house. They think that's fucked up, most of them. But when you're trying to get a job at a company, you've got some human resources asshole who's not even a human being in the first place, looking at your record, making a decision about you without, knowing anything about you and not even wanting to know your side of the story. They're just making a judgment on what they see on a piece of paper or on a computer screen. And that's that. They're judging you without even ever seeing you face to face, talking to you, hearing your side of the story or anything. And why? So I could put on a pair of golden handcuffs and be miserable at my job all day. I would take a 6-figure job if I could get one right now. Because especially during the probation I'm on, it would make the last several months of federal probation a lot easier to deal with if I have money in the bank and if I could save up for something. Instead of being I'm in survival mode one week after the next. I've never broken out of like survival mode, but I'm at the same time, one of the things that I can do that I have to do, and I'll do it right now since, I'm winging it for this live stream, is if I'm feeling like I'm stuck, if I'm down on myself, one of the things that I do is I just sit back and I say, Adam, where were you a year ago? Just look back 1 year. So if I do that right now, a year ago, it's June 17th. A year ago today, I had just moved into the place where I'm living right now. I'd been living here for about 2.5 weeks a year ago. I had that job at the bakery. I was going there 4 or 5 days a week. I was riding a bicycle 25 miles each way to get there. I had just moved out of a fucking, we called it the tool shed. I was living in a tool shed that had the same layout as a jail cell. Where my toilet was 2 feet away from my where I cooked my food and where I took a dump were 2 feet apart. I could stir my noodles cooking on my hot plate while I was taking a shit. That's how bad that place was. Didn't have hot water for 3 months. Had a scam artist for a landlord, et cetera, et cetera. I moved into this place and I had been here for 2.5 weeks a year ago today. Didn't have a car. Furniture-wise, when I moved in here, I had a crappy camping chair that was falling apart. That was what I had to sit on. And I had a camping cot that was my bed. I slept on a fucking cot, a Coleman camping cot. And I had that cot until September. And I had been sleeping on that cot from February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. 8 months I slept on a fucking cot that you would take camping. And that was my furniture. And now I've got this place laid out nice. And it took about 10 to 11 months to get everything done. I made a list of everything I wanted to do to this place if I was going to stay here, as like, this is my goal. I had a vision. Muskegee Land, you're an interior designer. I basically had the same process in my mind. I've envisioned exactly how my space would be laid out within a day of moving in here, and I wrote it all down. What goes where, the sizes I had to work with. I measured out all the space. I figured out what would go where. Oh, how big is a full size bed? How tall does it have to be if I want to have storage underneath it? Like shelving units and all kinds of crap. And now I'm at the point where I can't even figure out where to put a plant stand. If I wanted to get another plant stand to have a bigger plant somewhere, I don't have any place to put it because the place is full. And I've got a couch and a full-size bed with a nice mattress and nice bedding and a decent TV and a sound system. I mean, I bought it used on Facebook Marketplace on the cheap, but it's good. It does the job. I've got a nice little office workspace here. I've got a workbench back there. I can work on bicycles. I've got a pull-out rug, oil-proof, spill-proof rug that if I want to set up a bicycle workshop and do wrench work, I can tune my bicycles right in here. I've got a car now. And like, I can just go down this big list. I only work at the bakery one day a week, and I'm doing my freelance work and stuff, and everything's working out better. And so all I have to do whenever I'm feeling shitty is go, Adam, what were you doing a year ago? And the only time that really didn't work out was when I was in prison for the first year. What were you doing a year ago? Well, I was living large a year ago, and now I'm sitting in jail. So that sucked. You can't, so I'm not saying that everybody out there can look back a year ago and say that their life is better today, because that doesn't apply to everybody. There's times where you might look back a year ago and shit was better than it is today. That happens to a lot of people for different reasons. So, but if you're in a rebuilding period, like I'm starting from rock bottom, zero, and trying to build back better, like Joe Biden would say, right? Creepy ass Joe Biden. Build back better. All I have to do when I'm feeling down on myself is look back a year ago and say, how much worse was it a year ago? And if I look back a year ago, June of last year, like I just told you the rundown. Now, if I look back 2 years ago, I was fucking homeless, living in Jamestown, living in a homeless shelter. Had no money, living off of food stamps, living in a homeless shelter, couldn't get a job at McDonald's, couldn't even get a minimum wage job. Couldn't find anything. Had the only stuff I owned was in a backpack. Going to the public library to do whatever I could do each day, putting videos up about being homeless on YouTube and about, just my whole comeback story and everything. So if I look back 2 years ago, it's like, dude, so then then I don't feel so bad, because there's times right now, this day, this week, where I feel stuck. I feel like things aren't moving fast enough. I feel like I haven't done enough. I feel like, this, that, and the other thing. And for whatever reason, I get down on myself sometimes. And I don't dwell on it, but just look back a year ago. That's where I go when I need to I have to step back and look at the bigger view instead of being focused on the details. It's like Google Maps, I'm looking at the block all zoomed in when I got to look out and see the whole view of the whole state and like everything that I've done and everything and where it's going and everything else. And there's a lot. I mean, my to-do list is crazy right now. I don't know how to keep up with it. I don't know how to organize. Life has gotten a lot more complicated and unmanageable in the last several months. And I don't know how to get up early enough and work late enough to keep up with it. I haven't gone to the gym in weeks because I don't even know how to fit that in right now. But when it gets stressful, when it starts taxing me mentally, I'll sit back in my chair and take note of what I just told you. A year ago, this, a year ago, that. 2 years ago, it was way worse. And 3 years ago, I was in jail. 3 years ago, I was sitting in prison. And 3 years ago, what was it? 2000. I was sitting in a dungeon where I never even saw a tree or I barely saw the sky. I didn't see the sun or a tree for 14 months. Have you ever gone 14 months without seeing the sun or a tree? For 14 months. 14 months I didn't see the sun. Anytime they took me to court, they would take you in a van with no windows and no lights and you couldn't see outside. And they'd take you all the way into Pittsburgh in this van that's blacked out and you can't see in or out. And then they drive into an underground parking garage and you get out of the van and you're underground and you're still not outside. So yeah, Lori's 608, good to see you. Says she was here at the beginning. And Muskegee Land, you're in all the people who are here tonight hanging out are the OGs, and that's fun. I would like to get new people coming to the channel, but I'll bitch about the part that YouTube's doing with the shadow ban and all the games that they play, but I'll still acknowledge that there's things that I can do different. That I can do shorts videos, I can do shorter long format videos because people got short attention spans. So the sweet spot, like I was saying earlier, because I know not everybody's here for the whole time, so I'll repeat myself, but I have a video queued up to go live for the members, channel members, starting tomorrow probably, because I won't get it up tonight. There's a metadata. I have to put in all the metadata keywords and all that crap. And takes a minute. Tomorrow it'll go up for the members for about 3 days, I think, and then I'll switch it to go live for everybody else. And everybody else, you'll get to watch it with the ads. Members can watch it ad-free. From here on out, what I find that I do is when I have the urge to sit in front of a camera and talk, I can do that for like 2-3 hours, just like I'm doing a live stream right now. I can go for 3 hours and it doesn't even bother me. So I'm going to do that, but I'm going to have my notes broken down by topic. And so instead of just talking about random stuff for 2 to 3 hours, hitting the upload button and calling it a day, I'm just going to break it up into like 15-minute chunks. Target 10 to 15 minutes. Maybe there'll be 20 minutes. Maybe it'll be 5. But you know me, I have a hard time doing short videos. But if I can get like the long content, horizontal format videos on YouTube down to like 15 minutes of video, that's good. That's a sweet spot where a lot of people's channels do well. And so I can do a little more editing. My editing chops have gotten a little bit more fluid over the last several months because I'm doing it for other people. And I'm good at it. I just don't, it's time. It's time. I can do professional level motion graphics and editing just like you'd see on like MTV. And I could do it all day. But I don't have 30 hours to put into a 2-minute video. Like you see some of the animated stuff and, the high-end motion graphics and stuff like that. Somebody spent 100 hours to make a 4-minute long video or a bunch of 30-second segments like the MTV Music Awards, and all the little motion graphics segments and stuff that they do. They've got artists that spend months putting those things together, even though they're only like 10 seconds long and, all the fancy motion graphics and animated shit that they do. Movie titles, movie sequences, title sequences. You'll see some really creative stuff. The opening credits for a show that's got some really cool animation, music, typography, and that kind of stuff. You can just think of some shows that you like the opening sequence to. Somebody might have taken longer to make an opening sequence to a show like that. That's 30 seconds to a minute long than it took to make 5 episodes of the show in terms of like but that was somebody's specific job, was to make that title sequence. But somebody might have spent 6 months to make a minute and a half or a 30-second to a minute long video. A lot of work goes into that. Some are more than others. Sometimes it's like, what's the budget? How much time do we have? And that's going to dictate what you can actually do and what you can't do. Because you might have an idea, but you're like, I don't got 6 months to pull that off. We got 6 days, so we're going to get the budget version. We're going to get something that's lower. Like, we'll make something nice, but it's going to be different. It's got to be something we can pull off in the time that we have. But I used to do that for a living. I used to do animated motion graphics. For 6 years, I had a freelance business, and that's almost all I did was motion graphics, because I was one of the only people in Pittsburgh that would do it for the web using Flash and other technologies. So I was getting referrals. I did it. I had like 6 ad agencies that were my clients, because the ad agencies or the design studios didn't have anybody on staff to do that work. So whenever they would get a client that needed somebody to do that work, they would come to me and I would do it for them. My name would get left off of it, but I was getting paid, and I was getting paid pretty well, but they were getting paid better. I might charge $60 an hour for that. They're charging 80 an hour, or they might be charging 120 an hour to their client as it gets passed down the way. But for me, it was just extra work that I wouldn't be able to get myself. But almost all the work I did for 6 years was that kind of work: motion graphics and animation and title graphics and typography and that kind of stuff. Title sequences to TV shows would be the closest thing that would vibe along with what I was doing. And then the technology changed, and the form of the internet changed to where everything just kind of changed to this boring ass shit that we see now, and it's all more systems based and content based, and you don't see that kind of stuff anymore unless it's just straight up video. So I just had to pivot and change what I was doing for a living, but I still know how to do all that stuff, and I would love to do that stuff all day on my YouTube channel and do like really high end editing and production. But like, I don't got 120 hours a week to put in on it. If I'm only going to make $100 every 3 months in revenue, it's not, I have to pay my bills. So that's kind of what it boils down to. But I can take baby steps towards that direction and keep trying to figure out how to tinker with this YouTube channel and see what I can do with it. I know Dave Gass, you're here. You said you're listening. I know you're having the same issues with your channel. I was watching a couple of your videos recently, and I did see that. I looked at some of your videos of when you were basically had a gun channel, shooting guns and talking about guns, and you were getting thousands of views on videos, and your channel was growing, and then you pivoted, and it's like your content, your audience just dropped through the floor. And the same, and part, I talk about how YouTube shadow banned me and blah, 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 because I say things they don't like, which is true. But the other thing I did wasn't homeless anymore. And the whole point of the channel was trying not to be homeless anymore and to try and get out of that situation and build from rock bottom. But I'll just use the NASCAR analogy that, people don't go to a NASCAR race to watch a bunch of hillbillies drive around in a circle all day. They go to a NASCAR race to watch a hillbilly crash his car, blow up, and die in a ball of fire. That's what they're going to watch. They don't. NASCAR would be boring if Dale Earnhardt didn't crash into the wall and die, and people didn't blow up and run around on fire and flip their cars upside down and everything else that goes on. Because otherwise, like I said, it's a bunch of hillbillies driving around in a circle and nobody cares. And so I was homeless People are like, oh shit, I want to watch this train wreck. That's why people were subscribing. That's why people were joining the channel, because they're like, oh, give it like 3 months. This guy's going to be living under a bridge in Jamestown sucking dick for crack baggies. They were hoping for that. They were tuning in. They were coming back day after day. Any day now, any day, this guy's going to be sucking his first dick for a bag of crack. Maybe next week. Maybe next week. And it never happened. And then I got a house, and then I moved to Houston. I started getting my act together. I started getting on my feet. People are like, "Oh, fuck that. This is boring. I don't want anything to do with this." And it's just human nature. So that's part of the pivot. I'm no longer homeless, so there's no reason to watch the. A lot of people who joined the channel and watched up front, they watch because they want to see somebody fall flat on their face. They want to watch somebody suffer. They want to watch somebody pay the consequences for the dumb mistake that they made so that they can feel better about their own shitty life. But then when things started to go well, the audience just tanked. Everybody just left. And so I got to figure out something else to do. And, one thing I'm really good at is sitting around bitching about the government. So I think, do I have to spin off a bunch of different channels? Can I do it on one channel? Because the algorithm punishes you if you don't have like a hyper-focused niche where you talk about the same exact thing day after day after day. The algorithm punishes you for that. Dave Gass, you're seeing that. Like you went from talking about guns and shooting guns to, which YouTube doesn't like that to begin with. I'm surprised, but they do have there are a lot of successful gun channels on YouTube, just the same. And but when you pivot and you talk about something else, all of a sudden the algorithm decides to put the smack down and destroy your channel and not show your videos to anybody anymore. It's almost like they want you to spin off a new channel for every sub-genre or every individual topic you want to discuss. And to me, that's they have lowered the bar. It used to be you had to have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours before you could monetize a channel. Now you have to have, I think it's 500 subscribers. And the watch time is very, very minimal. I don't remember what the watch time is, but they lowered the bar to get monetized on YouTube so significantly that it's like, if you've got a good idea, you can make it happen really fast. You could probably do it in less than a month. If you get a hook, if the algorithm hooks into your content and people respond and they like it, you can have a channel take off. So I'm kind of in this limbo. I don't know what to do right now because I know what I want to do, but the algorithm doesn't want me to do that. The algorithm wants me to pick one stupid ass topic and talk about nothing else but that from now on and never deviate from that tiny little niche. Whether it's bitch about the government all day, talk about something else, or I've got like 4 or 5 different things I would like to talk about, and I don't want to manage 5 different channels. And I don't have time, and time is the biggest factor. And so, but all I can do is just keep moving forward one day at a time and just try different things and see what happens. I really have to kind of focus on getting from one day to the next. I can't think too far ahead because just getting from today to tomorrow, like I'm looking at my schedule for the rest of the week. I've got Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I've got to jam out 30 hours for a client. I haven't even started that 30 hours because Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday were taken up by other things. Now I've got 4 hours to jam out 30 hours. I would like to get that done Saturday. So 10 hours, 3 days in a row. Then I can spend all day Sunday cleaning my house. And then what? And then on top of that, how do I get it? What else can I fit in? So this is like the mindset that I'm in right now. And I just have to kind of just keep putting one foot in front of the other because I don't really know how to do it. I don't know how to do it any other way right now. And so yeah, getting down, that was so the last thing with the buggy, I'm kind of done with the bugs. Well, maybe not. Sunday, like I was just saying, I finished all my client work on Saturday, so I shut down for the week. Sunday, I decided to clean my house. I'm trying to get my house like Better Homes and Gardens is coming to do a photo shoot, and I want to have my house looking good so that I can do like a walkthrough and show you guys. Like I was saying, I moved in here about a year ago, and I did a couple of walkthroughs. One the week I moved in here and showed you, and then a few months later, after I did a few things, I showed you again. But I've done a lot. I've done a lot of work since. Honestly, like the only thing I'm missing now is hanging artwork on the walls. And I'm kind of like in the middle of, do I stay here another year or do I move somewhere else? And I think I'm leaning towards, I think for like simplicity, I'm going to stay here for another year, unless something pops up. Like I'm not going to like, I think the plan is I'm going to stay here another year, but if an opportunity pops up to move into a better place and it just magically works out, then I'm not opposed to packing up. It wouldn't be much to pack up and leave here. It's all pretty modular, and I could get a friend to come help me move 3 or 4 things that I would have a hard time moving myself. U-Haul van. I mean, I can pull the van right up to the front door here. We could put a couple of planks. It wouldn't even have to like. It would be so easy to move out of this place. Um, and so, and the right place comes along, I'll do it. Otherwise, I'm probably going to be here. But I could hang up some artwork on my walls just to give it like a little bit more, make it feel more like a home. But everything, I mean, other than that, little shelves here and there, and that's about all I can do at this point to make this place more livable. Continue to deep clean and sort things out. And so Sunday, I just took the whole day to deep clean. The only glitch is this place that I live in is not very well insulated. So on really hot days when the sun's baking down, the AC doesn't do shit. I might get a window unit for my bedroom. I've looked at a couple of small window units that put out 6,000 BTUs, and on those really hot days where the mini split in here doesn't do the job, I think a combined approach like that would do the trick and make the place livable. And in the winter, it's the opposite. You can't if on the day that we had this past winter that was 20 degrees, it was miserable. No matter how much heat I poured into this place, you couldn't keep it warm. And since the place is not very well insulated, that's just, nothing I could do about that. Um, see, YouTube glitched out a little bit on Sunday. I have playlists where I just pick a bunch of videos I want to watch whatever month it is. And then when I sit down to watch or listen, I try to drag and drop the videos in an order that I want to watch them. And for whatever reason on Sunday, YouTube wouldn't let me manually drag and drop my playlist around. But I was just cleaning the house. I just wanted to listen to a bunch of crap while I worked. Later on in the day, it started working again. So I don't know. I use an app called Obsidian. I was taking notes in an app called Notion, and it just became so buggy. Notion's another one of those companies that they got too big to care. And it's full of bugs. It's gotten slow. It's gotten really bad. Evernote is the king of that. Evernote used to be such a great app, and that app went downhill in a rocket ship into the ground. They made that it's legendary. It's actually legendary when people talk about how good it used to be and how bad it is now. It's kind of like the downhill ride of Facebook. How Facebook took over MySpace as the number one social media platform because the user experience design was done very well and it was intuitive and people could use it and you could log in and you could like connect with all your friends and family. And now what do you see when you log into Facebook? A bunch of bug riddled trash, a fucking app that's almost unusable, and the only posts that you see are just a bunch of AI garbage and scams. Like you don't see anything from anybody you follow, your friends, nothing. It's just a bunch of bullshit, AI generated bullshit and scams. And Facebook Marketplace, which is kind of 50-50. It's shittier. It kind of Facebook Marketplace ruined Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace because they both suck now. Terrible. It's gone downhill. And Notion's on that same track, going just on a rocket ship downhill. And I had to find another app for my general note taking and stuff. And I picked up Obsidian. It's a little bit glitchy, but overall, I dig it. Overall, it's pretty good. I'm moving forward with it, and I've already switched. I don't touch Notion for any new note taking or anything like that anymore. It'll turn into what Evernote. I'll just have a bunch of old shit in there that I go in and get from time to time. I still have notes going all the way back to like 2012 in Evernote. And I'm telling you, just in the last 5 or 6 days, I had to log into that Evernote account and pull out an old note, grab it, copy and paste it, put it in Obsidian. So you kind of just can't get, because of the bug riddled nature of software these days, and because a company is good today, 2 years from now, that company might tank and they might just fall apart and the software might turn into total trash. You have to be able to kind of pivot and switch gears from time to time. But like I said, I spent the day Sunday cleaning. So other than like tapping into my computer here and there, I was cleaning the house. But even the technology we use for that, I have a Ryobi vacuum cleaner that takes these batteries. It's basically the equivalent of a Dyson portable vacuum, but it takes these Ryobi batteries, and I have a stack of these batteries from, I've got this fan here, and I've got other random doodads that take those batteries. So I saw this vacuum cleaner on Facebook Marketplace, brand new, and I was like, yeah, way cheaper than a Dyson, just as good. And I have enough of these batteries that by the time I burn through a battery, I can just swap it with a freshly charged one. I've got 3 of the chargers. And so this vacuum, one of the things I don't like about it is it has these filters, these HEPA dust filters in there. And they don't look like they're reusable. And I only had one that came with the vacuum. And Amazon sells 6-packs of these things, and it was like $18 for a 6-pack. And so my filter was looking really dirty, and so I ordered some replacements. And well, it turns out I did some homework. These things are washable. I didn't think they were, but they're intended to be reused and washed. So the one that I pulled out of the vacuum and replaced with a new one, I washed it out the way I was told to wash it. And but you're not supposed to put it back in until it's completely dry. But so now I have 7 of these filters for this vacuum cleaner, and they're reusable. And if I rotate them every 3 to 6 months, I mean, it takes a while for them to get that dirty. Unless they just fall apart or rip or whatever. Having 7 of these things, the vacuum cleaner is gonna die someday before I run out of filters for it. So that was kind of cool to find out that the only part of this vacuum cleaner that I thought, in a bad situation, a grid down kind of, all of a sudden the apocalypse comes and we can't get filters for the vacuum cleaner anymore. I thought that would be a problem in the future, but it might not, because with 7 of those things and them being reusable, I threw the thing away. And then I found out after the fact, I'm like, wait a minute, these are reusable? You can wash these? I'm like, well, fuck. I go dig, I pulled that shit out of the garbage. I'm like, well, I'm going to wash this off. And I know the Dyson ones are a lot, like the Dyson filters look like you can wash them. And I had a couple of Dyson vacuum cleaners at my old house, and they're like easy to clean, and they're very much like, you look at them and you're like, yeah, those are reusable. But these ones didn't look like they were reusable, and I could see them getting so dirty over time that you just can't even wash them out anymore. But because they're really thick, and there's got to be like micro dust getting in the mid. It's probably not all coming clean, but with 7 of these filters, I don't see the vacuum cleaner lasting longer than the filters at this point. Like the thing. I mean, you can take a dump on Ryobi for all I know the tool people do. Um, but I've picked up a lot of their stuff over the years, and for home use, the stuff's fine, in my opinion. Um, and one of the reasons I went with that brand over Milwaukee or DeWalt or some of the other brands is because some of the tools and the variety of things that they make to go with their batteries are way more, they have a bigger variety of crap that you can plug those batteries into than the professional brands like Milwaukee, DeWalt, and etc. Um, I bought a Ryobi chainsaw once with an 18-inch bar because I love electric chainsaws. So when you go camping, I mean, people don't like them. People want a gas-powered chainsaw. And I'm like, that's great and everything, but okay. I went camping at a campground once, and I had 2 electric chainsaws, one with a 10-inch bar, and then I had this Ryobi with the 18-inch bar. And me and my son went out into a little wooded area at a populated campground on like Memorial Day weekend, surrounded by people, and there were some dead trees laying around, and we were like zip 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 zip, and had like a week's worth of firewood in like half an hour with 2 little portable chainsaws. Made no fucking noise. There's no noise. You can sit there. You could be 20 feet away from other people chopping up dead trees with a freaking chainsaw, and nobody's going to bother you because nobody even hears you doing it. You can go places where you're not allowed to cut firewood and cut all the firewood you want because no one's going to be there. They say, if a tree falls in the forest and no one's there to hear the sound, does it make a sound? Well, if you're cutting down dead trees in the forest and no one's there to hear an electric chainsaw, were you there? No, you weren't. But you got a truck full of firewood now. That's the most beautiful. Those electric chainsaws are fucking awesome if you like to go camping. And for home use, I had a lot of trees at my old house in Pennsylvania. The reason I needed the 18-inch bar is because I had a tree split and it needed to be cut up, and the 10-inch bar wasn't going to do the job, so I had to go buy a chainsaw. And I'm like, I could have just got a plug-in chainsaw. I could have got a gas-powered chainsaw real cheap on Craigslist or something, but the Ryobi had the 40-volt batteries, and those things are crazy powerful, and they have all these other tools. So I got a weed whacker, a leaf blower, and then the weed whacker had a brush hog attachment. It had a pole saw and all these other attachments for it. And the brush hog itself, I had 4 batteries by the time I bought all the tools. The brush hog, I had all this overgrown brush on the property. One afternoon with that brush hog attachment, shit was done. Ryobi, fine. If you compared the Milwaukee chainsaw with the Ryobi chainsaw that were the same price or in that same, the Milwaukee had more metal parts. The Ryobi had some plastic, where on the Milwaukee it would be metal. But the battery, those big ass 40-volt batteries were where it was at. They're powerful. They don't get bogged up. Like they put out enough power that the chain doesn't jam. The brush hog would go through anything. I could cut down trees with that, like small trees with that brush hog attachment on the weed whacker. That thing was crazy awesome, and it was quiet, dead quiet. So I don't have I hate 2-stroke weed whackers with you have to mix oil with the gas and pull the fucking thing and prime the engine, and I hate those things so much. The electric one, plug the battery in, it works great. And the charger charges the battery so fast that when I burn through a battery, go back to the house, the next battery's already charged. And I had 4 of them, and I would never use more than 2 going back and forth. If I was outside doing yard work all day long, by the time the battery I'm using would die, the next one's charged. and I wouldn't even have to go use the third and fourth battery. Um, and so I don't know. I don't care about. I mean, yeah, in a professional setting, I'd probably want the DeWalt set instead of the Ryobi. But here at home, I've got a bunch of Ryobi shit. I got all kinds of random shit. I've got a tire inflator that takes this battery. It's like, it looks like a drill. Pop the battery on, go outside, hook it to my tire. I can pump up all four tires of my car holding it. It's the size of a drill. And it's got a readout on the back. You can set it to whatever whatever PSI you want. Boom. It's fast, super fast. I used to keep an inflator with the batteries in all my vehicles back home. So I don't know, like all the other brands of tools don't have some of the stuff that the Ryobi batteries can plug into. They have adapters, AC converters that you can plug these batteries into and have a 3-prong outlet and plug anything in that you need to charge or run on. You know, it has to be low voltage, but you know, you can charge your phone with these things. You can charge pretty much anything. I could run a laptop with these batteries by plugging a laptop into that. All kinds of random stuff that those things do. And so I'm cool with I'm cool with that brand because of the variety of things that you can get. Like I needed a little fan to put at my desk because I had these fungus gnats flying around, and it was like the only way to keep the things from flying in front of my face. And I was looking and I'm like, wait a minute, I can get one of these? And then I've got like, all these batteries. So whenever the battery goes dead, I just pop it off, put the new one on. I can put this fan wherever I want to put it. I can take it camping. I can, there's a lot of stuff I can do with this fan aside from the purpose that I bought it for. The thing was like $25. It's a better fan than any other fan that they had for the same price. So, take a dump all you want. But I'll probably never own a gas powered chainsaw or a weed whacker ever. I just, the battery, I mean, even the battery lawnmowers that take the 40-volt Ryobi batteries, they're dead quiet. Like just those might not be as powerful as a gas mower. But they're not bad. I mean, that's going to depend on your yard and what you're trying to mow through. But it's the lack of noise and the lack of hassle, especially the weed whacker. Oh my God, I hate those weed whackers with the 2-stroke engines and having to pump the primer and mix the gas with the oil and pull the damn things 10, 15 times to get it started, and hate those things. Not when you can just pop a battery on and hit the button and you're good to go. And you get like, I don't know, 20 minutes or more before you got to go swap batteries. But I could do all my yard work and never run out of batteries on those things. And I had a huge yard where I was using that stuff. And like I said, you could take 2 chainsaws on a camping trip and enough batteries to get through the trip. And you can recharge them in the car while you're driving. Solar panels, you can charge the batteries with solar panels. I mean, that's way more advantageous than gas. You run out of gas and it's over. The sun you don't run out of the sun. If we run out of the sun, we got other problems. So I don't know. I mean, some of the electric stuff that we're moving toward is better. It just is. And even electric cars aren't inherently bad. If they can they've already made like Jeep. Nobody was ever going to buy an electric Jeep Wrangler. But they made this thing called the 4xe. So you put 5 gallons of gas in it and you get like a 400-mile range for 5 gallons of gas because it's an electric Jeep with a gasoline generator that charges the battery. Well, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. 5 gallons of gas to go 500 miles when it used to be 20 gallons of gas to go 400, 500 miles or whatever the range is. You get the same range for 5 gallons of gas that you would get for 18 to 20 gallons of gas in a gas powered vehicle. But nobody's going to want an electric Jeep to be out in the middle of nowhere, 150 miles away from civilization, and your battery's dead and you can't go anywhere. But imagine the range that you could get on a Wrangler with the 5 gallon gas tank full, fully topped off with an electric charge, and then you carry jerry cans on the side. You got a 5 gallon jerry can on the left, a 5 gallon jerry can on the right, 2 on the back. You could put an extra 20 gallons on that fucking thing. If every 5 gallons gets you a 400-mile shot, think about that. I mean, think about that in a grid down scenario. If you get 400 miles off of 5 gallons and you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fill ups, you can go 2,000 miles without having to go to a gas station. And then if you can plug that vehicle in somewhere to charge the electric battery without having to use the gas, like you can make a tank of gas last months on one of those. If you have a plug-in outlet at home and you're just driving back and forth to work, because it's basically an electric vehicle at that point. So like, I think that would be cool. Now these things are too expensive. I mean, I don't have the money for that kind of shit. But can they make one that goes 20,000 miles without having to buy a new transmission? I mean, can they make one that, doesn't watch me with a fucking camera while I'm driving and scan my face and report to the FBI everywhere I go? Like these new cars where the car won't start if it thinks that you've been drinking or your eye movement isn't the right thing or what. Like, fuck that. I don't know who's buying those cars, but I definitely don't want that fucking car. And I don't know anybody that does, but they're trying to force it on us. How many junkyards have caught on fire in the last 6 months? Like how hard they're trying to make it impossible. Cash for clunkers. They took a bunch of cars off the road. Oh, trade in your vehicle for a modern hybrid or some other modern vehicle, and then we send the used car that was otherwise fine to a scrapyard to be crushed. And now the price of used cars has gone through the roof as a result of the market being taken away. And now they're trying to make it so you can't even get parts for older cars. And now they're trying to make it so the new cars don't even last 30,000 miles before they fall apart and you need a new fucking car. Like they're trying to force you into this big brother control grid where they can basically, they can take control of your car remotely and either make it stop or lock you in your own car and drive you to the fucking jail or whatever they want to do to you. And I definitely, none of us wants that. Nobody watching this stream right now wants that shit. But they just don't give a fuck. They're going to force it on us. Come hell or high water, they're just going to find a way to make everybody comply. But if we take all the big brother out of it and just look at the technology for what it is, I would absolutely love to have a 2-door Jeep Wrangler with an electric engine that has a 5-gallon gas tank that can go 400 miles and carry 4 jerry cans on my Jeep like you do and get a range of 2,000 miles out of 4 jerry cans and a tank of gas. That would be freaking phenomenal. I mean, you could literally drive all the way across the country without having to go to a gas station if you played that. You could drive from New York. I mean, you could literally shop for gasoline based on what state you're in. You'd be like, you know what? I've got enough gas before we cross the state line into California. We can drive 2,000 miles around California and then get gas in Nevada. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy. So I mean, the technology isn't bad in and of itself. It's that they're trying to force this technology on us. Number one, they're trying to make it so we all have to get electric cars but the infrastructure isn't there. Let's talk about Pittsburgh. Electric cars. If they made everybody in Pittsburgh get an electric car tomorrow, okay, I don't know if you've ever been to the city of Pittsburgh, but it's narrow streets. People like the Pittsburgh parking job is when you park in front of your house, nobody has a fucking driveway in these neighborhoods. All the streets are narrow. You park with two wheels up on the sidewalk and two wheels out in the street, all cocked up like that in front of your house. People put out like chairs. People will put out a fucking folding chair or put a chair, and they claim their parking spot by putting a chair where your car would go. And that's just like an unwritten rule. You don't park in someone's spot if they claimed it with a chair. It's just like Pittsburgh rules. Look it up. I mean, this is real shit I'm talking about. Now imagine if all these neighborhoods where nobody has a fucking, if nobody has a driveway, then nobody has a fucking car charger. So what are you going to do to charge your electric car? You're going to be walking down the sidewalk in Pittsburgh, and every fucking car on the street is going to have some ghetto ass extension cord hanging out the front window of a house, going across the sidewalk and up over the roof of the car, plugged into the fucking charging port of the car. And you're going to have 200 of these fucking cars in a row. People are going to be tripping over the extension cords. It's going to look so fucking ghetto. It's going to look just as ghetto as like a street in India, or back in the day when, like, you know, in the tenements or whatever, when people had their fucking laundry zigzagging across the alleyways of the ghetto, because that's how people had to dry their fucking clothes after they washed them in the sink with a washboard, you know, back in like the 1920s or whatever. There's just going to be a bunch of fucking cars strung out down the road with extension cords hanging out all the windows, going across the sidewalk. People are going to be tripping over that shit. You won't be able to, like, go down the sidewalk with a skateboard, because there'll be just power cords all over the fucking place. And then, you know, pranksters are going to go through and unplug all the cars at night. And then everybody's going to try to go to work in the morning, and nobody's car will fucking start because they don't have a charge. Like, the infrastructure's not there. There aren't enough places to charge an electric car. And then you plug it. If you're trying to go on a long trip with an electric car, you plug it in. You got to go in. You can basically go eat dinner, because you're going to have to wait half an hour for your fucking car to charge. You know, it's not there. We're not there. But if you're telling me that Jeep can make a 4x4, 4xe, where it has a 5-gallon gas tank to keep the battery topped off, so you can go to the gas station, fill it up with gas, and then you can drive all over the fucking place and get a 400-mile range on a 5-gallon gas tank. Why can't they make all the cars like that? Why can't they just fucking do that? And you can plug it in. So if you have a place to plug your Jeep in, you can do that. You can plug it in at home. You can plug it in at work. If you have an electric car parking spot, you can plug your vehicle in and charge it, so you don't have to use the gas. But if you don't have the convenience, like, you have the best of both worlds there, why can't they give us that? And it's not like it's not even that complicated of a thing. It's a generator and a fucking battery. Like, they've made it. They've got it. It exists. The Cybertruck. Why the fuck can't they make a Cybertruck that does that? Like, why didn't the Cybertruck have that? Why is that big fucking ugly piece of shit Cybertruck? How come that can't have, like, okay, so they made this big goofy ass looking truck that you're supposed to be able to take off road and shit, but where are you going to plug it in? Out in the fucking woods? Like, what happens if you take your Cybertruck out in the fucking woods and the battery goes dead? You're fucked. So I don't even know why anybody would buy that thing anyway. That's the ugliest fucking vehicle. Like, the Cybertruck is the ugliest vehicle I've ever seen in my life. Like, I'd rather have a fucking El Camino. I'd rather have a Pontiac Fiero. I'd rather have a Dodge Dart from the 70s. I'd rather have the fucking Gremlin that or the Pacer that Wayne's World drove around in the movie. Like I can't think of an uglier fucking vehicle I've ever seen in my life than the Cybertruck. Why? And I see them everywhere here. Like I don't understand that one. I do not understand why someone would buy that. When you could buy a real truck for less. Like I would just rather get a real truck at that point. Um, but they don't want to give us the technology. They don't want to give it to us in a good way. Like they don't want to give it to us in a way that would be useful to us. Like Toyota right now, they've got a concept for a pickup truck that they can sell for like 10 grand, 15 grand. And it's basically like a utilitarian, like bare bones pickup truck that goes back to the roots of Toyota that won't fucking die. Like it'll be a truck you can buy for like $10,000, $15,000, customize the shit out of it if you want to, but otherwise it's just a basic pickup truck. But it's Toyota and it's Toyota hard, it's the quality Toyota and it won't die. And they're not going to let us have that here in America. They won't even let them sell it here in America. They won't even let them sell it here. So you'd have to have, by the time you get one of those fucking things imported and whatnot, you're in like probably 60 grand for the basic fucking Toyota pickup truck. Look it up. Like there's a market for this shit, but they won't let us have it. Like there's nobody out there who would, my God, this whole stream is turning into like bitching about cars, but there's a documentary out there, and I think they hoodwinked us into wanting these electric cars and then pulled the rug out from under us to make them shitty on purpose. There's a movie out there, a documentary called Who Killed the Electric Car? And it's a documentary about when General Motors made an electric car called the EV1. And it was just a basic bitch electric car, no frills, just like a basic electric car. And you had to lease these things. And they were great. They never needed anything. Like they had like a 300-mile range on a charge. They never broke down. They never needed any maintenance. Brakes lasted forever because of engine braking. So like the brakes last 100 times longer. These people had these cars for like 3 years and never even had to change the brakes out on them and never had a single problem with them. And they always worked and, et cetera, et cetera. And they had a good range, especially, the technology wasn't as good back then. And they were all leased. And then General Motors turned around and said, you have to give them all back. And they forced everybody to give back the car. And they wouldn't let anybody keep them. Like, there's a handful of people that were able to keep their EV1s. But they made it really, really difficult. And you basically, if you're like some Hollywood celebrity and you've got millions of dollars to take them to court, you could keep your stupid little electric car. But they made it impossible to fix. They basically made it impossible. But it was like the car for the people. Like, it was a beautiful little thing that they made. And they could probably sell these things for like less than 20 grand. Because it's just a basic car with no frills and an electric motor, and you can charge it. And so no, they took them away. And then electric cars went away for a while. And then when the electric car comes back, they're just shit buckets full of fucking problems that break down, catch on fire, fall apart, don't fucking work, and they track and trace and big brother your ass every time you turn around. And so like they're not what they're not what they started out as. They didn't let us have the electric car until they could make them shitty. Once they figured out how to make them shitty, then they decided to let us have them. And so, like, I'm not opposed to the technology itself. I'm just opposed to the way that they're trying to roll it out on us. And like all these data centers. Another thing I can say, I've been talking about for months how I need a set of hard drives. And I missed the fucking boat because of all these. So the data centers that are popping up all over America, you notice how the environmentalists went away. They're not bitching about the environment anymore, are they? because now they're all like, now we need data centers. We need a giant data center in every neighborhood in America now. But they're saying it's because of AI. No, no. I've already told you, when I went to court for my federal case, the FBI gave me a PDF document that was 600,000 pages long. That had everything that they ever had, all the information that they had on me about my life and everything I've ever said or done was a 600,000 page PDF document. They've got one for you and for you and for you and you and you and you, all of you. The FBI can print out a 600,000 page document of everything you've ever said or done. If you don't believe me, fine. Don't fucking believe me. I can tell you they handed me that document. Do you know how many pieces of paper? If you stacked up 600,000 pieces of paper, if you printed that out, do you know how tall that stack of paper would be? It would be about 255 feet tall. It'd be about the height of a 15-story building. Okay? So their data centers, they need a place to keep all the data. This is the data that they're taking from you and you and you and everybody else. They're taking all of your data, everything you ever say or do, every place you go, everything you buy, everything you say, every email, every website you go to, every single fucking thing you do. They're putting it in your file. They need space to store that shit. But the problem is they're taking so much data from you that a human being can't go through that. Like, how do you go through a 600,000 page document and find out what's in it? It's like Nancy Pelosi said, we have to pass this law so we can find out what's in it. Bitch, you're the one who's supposed to read the 6,000 page fucking law before you vote on it. But who can do, if you can't read a 6,000 page law, how are you supposed to sift through a 600,000 page PDF document and find shit in it? You can't. The AI can. You feed that 600,000 page PDF document into an AI bot, 10 seconds later, it's going to come back with every fucking crime you ever committed. And the laws are structured right now. Every single one of you that says there's 10 people watching right now, every single one of you commits 5 felonies per day. You don't even know, because nobody knows. We talked about this. Nobody knows what the fucking law is anymore, but there's studies out there that say every American citizen, whether, law-abiding citizen or not, every single one of you commits at least 5 felonies every single day of your life. What do you think's going to happen when these AI bots at the data center starts going through all the shit that they ever collected about you your entire life while you're out there committing 5 felonies a day? You think, they call it a prison planet for a reason, dude. Like, the shit in the Bible, it's going to make the shit in the Bible look like child's play when it actually starts to go down. Because a bot can go through all that stuff and find all the shit about you. And find a reason for them to come kick down your door and haul you off to a fucking concentration camp for breaking 5 felonies a day. And what's going to happen when you go in front of the judge? I didn't know. Well, what are they going to tell you? Ignorance is no excuse for breaking the law. Whether the judge doesn't know the fucking law, the prosecutor has no fucking idea, the defense lawyer doesn't know the fucking law, the cops certainly don't know the law, and you don't know the law. But the AI bot will know every single fucking nuance of the law, and it's going to have a 600,000 page document of everything you've ever said or done to go through and find out all the laws that you broke. 5 seconds, and it's going to spit out a fucking list of the 5 felonies a day that you did, and then they can come kick down your fucking door and haul you off to the camp anytime they want. You don't think that's why they're building these fucking data centers everywhere, and they're putting up these cameras on every fucking block and every street corner and every parking lot, putting cameras in your fucking car, watching your eyeball movements while you drive around, listening to everything you say, watching you on Google Maps, like every single fucking thing you do. And so the point, I think I've made my point about why we're building the data centers, but the side effect is I need a hard drive. And around October last year, I could get a 14 terabyte drive for about $300. And I just couldn't afford it at the time. I need two of them. And Black Friday came. They dropped the price down to $160 for a 14 terabyte drive. And I was like, fuck. And I didn't have the money that day. And I got paid for a job a day or two later, and I went to buy them and they were sold out. And then they went back up to $300. And now every month and a half, every month or two, the price of these hard drives goes up by $100 every 4 to 6 weeks. Now, most of these 14 terabyte drives are $600. So now they went from $300 to $600 between Christmas and now for the same exact hard drive. They used to be $300, they're now $600. A month and a half from now, they're going to be $800. It's going to be they'll be up to $1,000 at the pace that they're going up in price. A 14 terabyte hard drive will be like $1,200 by the end of the year, when they used to be $300. Technology normally goes down in price as time moves on. Now you're going to be paying $1,000 for a drive that a year ago would have cost $300 by the end of this year, because they're using this excuse of, well, all the data centers are driving up the demand for hard drives to the point where there's a shortage of hard drives now, and we have to charge out the wazoo for them. So my only hope right now is that Amazon has this deal day coming up on June 23rd. And I'm hoarding my cash. I'm taking whatever money I get between now and then, I'm not spending it, as little as possible. Because I'm hoping that hard drives go on sale that day and I can pick up a pair at an affordable price and have enough capacity for the next 2 or 3 years to where I don't have to buy hard drives for a couple of years, 2 or 3 years. And I'm really, really hoping that they come down in price. And like, I'm going to be on that shit at midnight. I'm going to be logging into Amazon at midnight on the 23rd, praying to God that I can get myself an affordable hard drive, a pair of affordable hard drives, so that I don't have to deal with this shit for 2-3 years. Because that capacity at the pace that I'm going right now. Now, if I start doing more 4K video and shit like that, forget it. It's another reason for the price of storage going up is they want you to own nothing and be happy. They want you to eat bugs. They don't want you to eat meat anymore. They're trying to get, they're dropping ticks off all over the country to make you sick so that you're allergic to meat and you can't eat meat anymore. They don't want you driving a fucking car. They don't want you to have the freedom to get in a car and go where you want to go, when you want to go. They want to take all your fucking freedom away. They don't want you to be able to own anything. They do not want you to be able to store data, your own shit on your own computer, on your own device at your own house. They don't want you to have the ability to save your files at home. Why do you think they take these phones? They took the SD cards out of the phones. They took any kind of way that you could have storage on your device. All the Samsung phones up till about a year or two ago, you could get a micro SD card, 256, 500 gigabyte, slide it into your phone. When it was full, pull it out, put a new one in. You had unlimited storage of local files. They made it very easy. I mean, I can still plug my Samsung phone in with a USB cord into my Mac, or I can connect via Wi-Fi and pull all the files off of it and dump them off to hard drives and stuff. But they're trying to make it so, I mean, the average person doesn't know how to do that shit. And it's not that hard to do, but most people are lazy and dumb, so they just don't bother learning. And so most people, they're like, oh, I have to sign up for my iCloud, and they're trying to force you into like putting everything in the cloud. And I think that the reason why hard drives are going up in price so fast to where they're going to double in price every 6 months for the same capacity is solely because they do not want you storing your own shit at home. They don't want you having your own music collection that you have on your own computer. They don't want you having your own movies. They don't want you having DVDs and Blu-rays and ripping your Blu-rays and your DVDs to hard drives and having your own media server and storing your own files on your own hard drives and shit like that. They want you to put everything in the fucking cloud and then pay a monthly fee to keep your shit. And oh, you miss a payment, boom, you lost all your shit. It's gone. 20 years worth of files gone, poof, because you couldn't make your cloud subscription payment. So I don't know. We just don't. I don't like this. I would, if I could go back in time to like the 80s, I'd put on a fucking flak jacket. I'd go to war to prevent the future that we're living in now. I'd be like a regular old John Connor or whatever the fuck, Kyle Reese. Go back in time, even though it's not. I'd try to put a stop to the shit that's going on today. Make a target list and take them out. All the people that brought us to where we are today, get them. put a wrench in the fucking machine. If you could go back in time and do that. Just like going back to Cyberdyne Systems and putting that and get rid of that chip so they can't make the first Terminator. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody's got, oh man, we got to have it. We got to have a time machine come out soon so we can go back and fix this shitty ass future that we're moving into. But I could talk about software all day. I went to the bakery on Monday. It's a never ending topic. I mean, I worked at the bakery all day. I work there one day a week now. The software that they use to run the bakery, the POS, point of sale. That's what POS stands for, but it's a POS. It's a complete piece of shit. And I'm telling you, every time the company makes an update to the software, they make it worse. I only go there once a week. I interact with this software infrequently, but every time I go in there and I see that there's an update to their POS system, it's a fucking POS. It's a fucking piece of shit. Like, it gets worse every time I use it. I'm like, who is the fucking retard in charge of this shit show with this fucking software? Because it just keeps getting worse. And from like a user experience design standpoint, which is what my job would be, I'm dumbfounded at how unusable they make it. Week after week after week, it gets worse. Once again, new and improved means shitty and broke. That's basically what it stands for. I mean, some of the things that they do at this place, they are more nefarious than that. Like, they'll hide important information from the employees because the employees are just supposed to know. So they'll make it really hard for you to find the shit that you need to know to do your job because you're just expected to know. And it's like some snooty ass fucking bullshit snobbery game or whatever you want to call it. And I'm like, how fucking retarded is that? If I owned a bakery, I would have like all the important procedures and the recipes and the information easily accessible on the wall so the employees can see what the fuck's going on, readable, easy to understand. You know why? Because I want the quality to be good and I want all the people to be able to know what the fuck's going on. I'm not going to play this fucking snob game of, well, you're just supposed to know that. That's why we don't put it out there for everybody to see. Well, fine. Go eat a dick then. If all the cookies come out fucked up, go choke on a fucking dick for all I care. Because if that's how you're going to play the game and people can't do their fucking job because you made it harder, because you're like, oh, well, if you knew what you were doing, you wouldn't need to look that up, blah, 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 blah. Like, that's not a way to run your fucking business, dickbag. So, whatever, dude. I like the people I work with, but there's a level of retarded shit that comes from outside of the people I work with that, put it this way, if I worked for that company at their headquarters, I'd get fired in about a week because I don't give a shit. I've never worked at a company doing what I do. People either love me or hate me because I don't, like, they find out within like a day that I don't give a fuck. And I'll just say, I might be professional about it and be tactful and not swear and, say certain things, but I have no problem like calling a turd a turd. I don't have to dance around it. If something's retarded, I might not use the word retarded, but I'll make sure that everybody in the room knows that this is fucking retarded by the time I'm done talking about it. And people either love the honesty or they hate it. And it just depends on, a lot of companies, it depends on who you're dealing with. HR, they hate you. If you're speaking to power, if you got the balls to stand up to a CEO and talk like that, they tend to respect you for it. It just depends on, HR is all about playing games and politics. But if you're speaking to power and you be real with them, you'd be surprised how many of them respond to you with respect. It just, you have to talk to you have to get in the right room to have these conversations. But then, I deal with Cisco. I don't know if any of you would know about the restaurant industry and you know about this company called fucking Cisco. Oh my God. Don't even get me started with that horrible shit show of a company. Honestly, Cisco is the main reason why most restaurants suck balls now, because it's this one fucking monster of a company that's pretty much the supplier of all ingredients and all food for pretty much every restaurant in America now. And they're a fucking terrible company, and they're so bad. And I deal with them every week. Not directly, but I see their shit show for what it is week after week, and it's fucking amazing how, like, I'm just telling you, if you work on the inside of some of these things, like, I have no desire to eat at a restaurant ever again, because it's like, there's really no difference from one to the next anymore. I mean, you can tell if you're at a good restaurant that goes out and actually sources their ingredients and takes the time to go out and like line up suppliers and line up their supply chain. And you can tell which restaurants just go and order everything on Cisco. Cause yeah, they all fucking suck. Another buggy thing that you all deal with, all of you, gas stations. I wonder if they're trying to make gas stations so fucking bad that it makes you want to buy an electric car because the gas stations are so fucking bad now. Whether it's the gas pumps don't fucking work, all the random problems that you have at the gas stations now, it's fucking insane. I hate pumping gas. I hate having to get out of my car, deal with the broken ass card thing on the fucking gas pump. Half the fucking gas pumps don't work anyway. You go to pump gas in your car and the fucking thing doesn't fucking work. And then when you're done pumping gas, the thing doesn't spit out a receipt. I choose gas stations based on which ones. I don't care about the fucking price at all. Whatever, in my day to day. Back in Pennsylvania, Sheetz. I would not go to any other fucking gas station other than Sheetz unless I was desperate and I needed gas right now and I couldn't make it to a Sheetz. Because Sheetz had nice gas pumps. They worked. You could go in. You could order some food. You could you could go grab a couple of snacks or whatever. It was clean. The bathrooms were clean. Beautiful fucking gas station. There's no other gas station like Sheetz anywhere in America. Nothing even close to Sheetz. I guess they're like down here in Texas, they got Buc-ee's. Is Buc-ee's, that's probably, but that's different. Buc-ee's is like a big giant fucking store with a gas station with some gas pumps outside. Sheetz is like a gas station that's high class. There's no Buc-ee's anywhere around where I am, so I don't have that experience yet. Here in Texas. But I'll go to the gas station that has the best experience of being a gas pumper. I don't give a fuck about what the price is. I don't even look at the sign. I need gas. I'll go to the gas station. I want it to be clean. I want the pumps to fucking work. I don't want to I don't want to put the pump in the thing, pull the handle up, and then have to wait 2.5 hours to get 15 gallons of gas because the pump's all jacked up and fucked up and broke. When I put the thing back on the gas pump, I want to see the receipt spit out. Even though I don't need the receipt, but it's still, it's part of the experience. If I got to go take a piss, go into the gas station, it's clean. You know, like, it's so hard to find a good gas station now. And I'm kind of like that with gas stations and the grocery store. I don't give a fuck about I don't care about, I don't go to grocery stores based on the price. 100% go to a grocery store based on what's it like to shop there. Is it a bad experience or a good experience to shop? Can I find what I'm looking for? What are the customers like? Is there a bunch of retarded ass ghetto shit going on all over the place? People screaming and yelling and fucking, is it dirty? Is it nasty? Is there like a bunch of fucking theft? Is there like half the shit locked up in glass cases? Like you need Kool-Aid packets. You got to go get a fucking employee to open up the glass case to get fucking Kool-Aid packets out because, they get stolen so much. Or is it a regular, I'm telling you, the fucking HEB that I go to regularly, I go to 2 different ones. The one that's closer to my house, parking lot full of cars, not a single car in the parking lot that costs less than $70,000. My car looks like the biggest ghetto piece of shit car in the entire parking lot, my Passat. You go in, it's clean, it's nice, it's friendly, it's peaceful, it's very bright, clean. Like I said, everything is easy to find. I can go in there with a list. I can be out of there quick. I know where everything is. There's nothing I can't find. You can trust the sushi. You can trust the rotisserie chicken. There's a Walmart grocery store at the end of my street. I swear to fucking God, if I ever have to go in there, I go batshit. If I have to go in there to buy one thing, I'll go crazy. Just to go in the store. They've got like these metal gates, like these fucking security gates that let you in and you can't go back out the door you just came in because I don't even know why. And the place is like, there's ghetto shit going on everywhere. There's like, I'm telling you, I'm just going to leave it at that because, and it's a bad experience. And I do everything in my fucking power to never set foot in that place. It's horrid. Every time I go the parking lot, everything about that place, I don't give a fuck about the prices. I don't even look at the prices. I look at the experience, and it's a bad experience. I will go on a half-hour drive to go to a better grocery store just so I don't have to deal with that ghetto-ass bullshit at the end of the street. I'm like that with grocery stores, gas stations, and certain other things. I only care about whether it's a pleasant experience or whether it's a complete shit show. Some grocery stores like Aldi, Trader Joe's, things like that, you go because they've got things you can't get anywhere else. Trader Joe's has a lot of different random things that I haven't even been to Trader Joe's since I've been in Houston, but I know there's one in the Woodlands that I could hit up on my way home to and from. And there's a lot of things I could pick up that would be pretty good to have here in the house that you can't get anywhere else. So that might be a reason I'll go to a one store or another. I don't go to Whole Foods. That's too snooty. It's too uppity. Everything's super expensive, and there's really no reason to go there. And the experience really isn't that good either. It's kind of a shitty store. I don't like Whole Foods at all. Aside from Whole Paycheck Foods, and the expense of it all, it's just it's not a good experience to go there. I don't like it. So like I'm real picky, real fucking picky about grocery stores and gas stations. And if I have the luxury and I have like the ability to pick and choose where I want to go, I get stuck on, I'm like, this is the grocery store. This is where I'm going from now on. This is the gas station. This is where I go from now on. And I almost never deviate from those things, at least in like the normal day to day, the week to week kind of, being around your home base kind of a thing. Um, once you figure out what's what, I'm totally fine with exploring and going to try new things. And, I don't have to stick to but like to try out a new grocery store, I'll just be like, I got a list of like 4 things. Let's see what this grocery store is like. And I'll go in and I'll be like, oh, it'll either be like, I'll either say, this isn't so bad. Maybe I'll come back here someday, or I'll never set foot in this fucking place again. I don't care if everything's half the price of the other store. I'll still go to the other store. And I'm broke. I don't have the money to fuck around like that. But I would pay twice as much to go to a grocery store that's not a completely miserable experience to go to, just to avoid the misery of going there. Like I'll make up for the money in some other way. So let's see, we're at 3 hours and 20 minutes. I could talk. I mean, all I really did yesterday was more of the same. Laundry. I've talked about how laundry is a big bottleneck here, and I had to get a new fan, but I got it on warranty. I bought a fan last year, which helps dry my clothes, and it's good to have a fan, a pedestal fan. And I noticed that the power on this fan, it's like 11 months old, and it's not blowing out any air. I think the motor just conked out, so that on the high setting, it's blowing less air than it used to on the low setting. And so I reached out to the company, and they're sending me a new fan. Because that's one positive thing about the technology is if you buy things electronically like Amazon, or if you buy something at Home Depot and you put in your email address, nobody likes to be tracked and traced, but they're tracking you anyway. You could go into, like, look at the guy who went to Walmart, didn't even take his phone, paid with cash to buy something, got home, and there's an email saying, would you rate the product that you just bought? And he's like, how the fuck do you even know? I just bought something, I paid cash, and I didn't even take my phone in the store. Because they're tracking your facial recognition with the cameras in the store, and they've got you, and you go up and you pay cash, and they still know who you are and what you bought. And so, like, okay, fine. Take advantage of the positive side. I enter in my email address at Home Depot, and now I've got a receipt forever. If I ever have a problem, these NCR papers, these fucking receipts that you get nowadays, I mean, they're bad for your hands and they give you cancer and all that to begin with. But 6 months after that receipt's printed, it's just a white sheet of paper with nothing on it. They fade and they disappear. You buy something on Amazon, like this fan. This fan died, and I noticed it on Sunday because it was super hot, and I'm folding clothes, and I'm like, this fan's like 4 feet away from me, and there's no air blowing on me. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on with this fan? And I started thinking about it, and I'm like, yeah, this fan used to blow the clothes off my clothesline when I would do laundry and hang up on my clothes to dry. It would blow the socks right off the line. And now it barely makes the clothes move. And I'm like, that's not the same fan I used to own. And so all it took was one email to the customer service, attach the Amazon receipt, screenshot of my Amazon receipt, couple of emails back and forth. The only thing that they made me do that kind of sucked, they made me cut the power cord on the fan and then send them a picture of the fan with the power cord cut, showing the sticker with the serial number on the fan to prove that I cut the power cord on it. Now they're sending me a new fan, but I got to wait like 3 or 4 days for a new one to show up, that they shipped out today, I guess. I don't know. But I got to go a few days without a fan. At least if I didn't have to cut the power cord, I could still keep using the shitty fan until the new fan comes. So that kind of sucked, but it was very painless to go through the back and forth with the warranty people. And it was a $40 fan. It wasn't like a super expensive fan, but let's talk about it in terms of the crap that we buy, and how if you bought a fucking fan, a pedestal fan in 1972 with the metal blades that if you stuck your finger in there, it'll take your fingers off, the metal, if that metal grate or whatever, that's the only thing protecting your fingers from being chopped off. If you bought that fan in 1972, that thing would still work today like it was brand fucking new. To this day. That you could have a 50-year-old fan that you bought back then, and you could still plug that thing in and it would work just as good right now as it did back then. Powerful, blows all kinds of air, it does its job, and it's designed to last 100 to 200 years. That could never have to replace it. But now you buy a fan on a pedestal, 11 months later it's burned out and it doesn't fucking work. How the fuck is that possible? When back in the 70s they could build one that would last 200 years and never die. And now we have all this technology and everything's so much better. And now that fan back in 1972 would have cost $10 and it would last 200 years. That fucking fan could be buried underground in a fucking flood or who knows what and be dug up by an archaeologist 200 years from now, and you could plug that fucking thing in the wall and it would still work. And it would work just fine. There wouldn't be anything wrong with it. But a fan that I just bought 11 months ago is completely worthless and dead. Doesn't work. And, like I was saying in the beginning of the show, the companies, the light bulb manufacturers got to the point where they could make a light bulb that would last 100 years. There's a fire department somewhere in America. You can look this up. I'm giving you enough to look it up. If you can't find it, then that's on you. I'm not going to do it for you. There's a fire department that has a light bulb that's been turned on for over 100 years. And the light bulb is still on. They've never turned the light off. Some manufacturer made a light bulb it's been going for over 100 years. It's never been turned off, ever. And the light bulb is still on. And it still works. And they were making light bulbs like that. And then the light bulb companies got together and said, you know what? If we keep making light bulbs that'll last 100 years, nobody's going to need to buy light bulbs anymore and we're going to lose money. So we all got to have an agreement here that we're going to make light bulbs that die after like 500 hours. So that every 2-3 months you got to get new light bulbs. Because if we don't make these fucking people if we don't rip them off and make the light bulbs bad on purpose, it's going to hurt all of us. So they came up with like a collective agreement, the light bulb cartel, where they decided collectively that we will not, all the light bulb companies, GE, Westinghouse, all the light bulb companies decided together, we're not going to make light bulbs that last more than, whatever it is, 1,000 hours, 500 hours. I don't remember what the number is, but they purposely make light bulbs not last past that number. And they came to an agreement. They said, if any of you break this covenant and start making light bulbs that last a long time, the rest of us collectively will go after you and destroy your company. Whether it be frivolous lawsuits, we'll sue you to death, we'll hostile takeover, will buy the majority shares in your company and dismantle the company and dissolve it. There's 10 different ways from Sunday that 10 light bulb companies could go after the outlier that breaks the agreement and totally destroy them and sink them and put them out of business for making a light bulb that's better than everybody else's light bulb. It's the same way. They call it a cartel. It's the same way the drug cartels operate. They don't like killing each other because bloodshed's bad for business. So they kind of say, okay, we're all growing and selling cocaine. So we're just going to divvy up the territories. You get Chihuahua, Juarez, and, whatever. And we'll take Baja. We'll take the east half of Texas. We'll take California. You guys get New York, Chicago, blah, blah, blah. And everybody gets their territory. And they all agree that this is what we're selling cocaine for, and this is the territories that you're all limited to, And as long as nobody crosses and steps on each other's toes or does anything against our agreement, we'll all get along. But otherwise, we're going to go to war and start killing each other. And that's basically how business works now. So the fucking fan company, some fucking fan, they're like, we're making fans that last 300 years. So if you buy a fan in 1972, you're never going to need to. You buy a refrigerator. How many of you have a refrigerator? I had one. I had a fucking refrigerator that was like made in 1970. It had all the cursive lettering and the fucking, it was the off-white beige color, and it had like the stars and the fucking all the graphics and all the shit that you would expect to go with the yellow curtains and the wood panel and the shag rug and the whole. It would match a 1970s house. I had a fridge like that at a place. Worked perfect. Never had a fucking problem with that fridge ever. That fridge was like 50 fucking years old and it worked just as good as it did on day one. Yet you can't buy a fucking refrigerator now that'll last more than like 2 years. Right? You can't buy a fucking refrigerator now that lasts 2 years. And now you go and you buy a fucking refrigerator and it's got a goddamn iPhone screen on it, putting a bunch of fucking ads in your face and like what you can't. It's like when you pump gas, and like one of the shitty things I hate the fucking gas stations that have the video screens and they're trying to make you watch TV while you're pumping gas. It's like, get the fuck out of here. Like, do I really need to watch a fucking TV show while I'm pumping a fucking tank of gas in my car? Like, I can't get away from what? You can't let us have 5 minutes away from the fucking TV? And then I'm thinking like, it's always some like dumb shit like gas station TV news, GSTV. And I'm like, what the fuck you did? Like some ding dong went to fucking journalism school, got his master's degree or whatever, and worked up the fucking ranks so he could be sitting at the anchor desk of gas station TV news. Like, what? You may as well just fucking kill yourself, you fucking loser. If that's the best you could do, being the lead anchor man on gas station TV news so that all the people pumping gas in America can watch your dumbass bullshit on the TV screen at a gas pump. Like, kill yourself. Seriously, fucking kill yourself. Because you're completely fucking useless. If that's your fucking job. I would rather work at fucking McDonald's than be on the anchor desk of gas station TV news. Like, for real, dude. I would kill myself if that was my job. I would never kill myself, by the way. I have to say that a lot because the FBI would love it if they could just show up one day and put 2 holes in the back of my head and tell everybody I couldn't take it anymore. And I took myself out, shooting myself twice in the back of the head. And I'm still holding on to the gun somehow. If you know anything about firearms, Vince Foster, 2 to the back of the head, and they found him with the gun in his hand. I don't know if you know how guns work or if you've ever shot a gun. I don't know if you ever shot a 45, but, to have that thing still in your hand, that's quite a feat. But that's what they would do. They would love to do that. So I gotta put that disclaimer out there. But no, if I was the lead anchor of gas station TV, I put 2 in my own head. If that was the best I could do in life. Oh my God, the lead anchor man of gas station TV. My God, dude. Oh, but I guess, I don't know. You could be one of the ding dongs on the fucking video screen at Target, or who knows? I mean, I'm sure you could do worse, but yeah, I don't want to go to a fucking gas station where they got a big fucking stupid ass TV screen to show to show gas station news while I'm trying to pump my gas. Can I just have 5 fucking minutes without having to watch a TV screen? Is that where we're at in America now? Oh, I can't have my phone in my hand, so at least I can watch TV on the gas pump. It's fucking retarded, man. Like, I'm like, I hate our future. I hate that this future is not what we were told it was going to be when I was a kid. And I want to sue whoever the fuck told me that for false advertising. Because it sucks. This future sucks. So, yeah, I mean, I could talk about a few other bugs and different things over the last couple of days, but it's been 3.5 hours of a live stream. And like I said, I didn't, it's not a bitch session. I'm not just bitching about, oh, here's all the problems I had this week. I'm just making a commentary about we all live in this weird ass world where everything's broke, yet it doesn't have to be. A refrigerator from 1970 still works today like the day it was new, yet the brand new Samsung fridge with the goddamn TV screen on the front and all this other bullshit that you don't need stops working in 6 months, and you can't even buy the part anymore to fix it. You got to go get a whole new fucking refrigerator. You know what I mean? A fan from 1970 would still work fine today. In fact, if I was going to get a new fan, I'd just go on Facebook Marketplace and look for the oldest fan I can find, because I know it'll work. And I know 10 years from now it'll work. And it'll probably work better than any fucking thing I could get on Amazon. But I'm getting a free fan to replace the fan that stopped working. So, may as well just take that for what it's worth. But I already know I'm going to get like 10, 11 months out of that fan, and it's going to die. And will they replace it again? I don't know. Does the warranty replacement come with a warranty, or is it like a one and done? Either way, it was $40. It's not the end of the world. I already have a new fan picked out if I was going to buy one on Amazon to replace the one that has a lower profile. The base is a little bit skinnier, so it would fit in my small apartment, house, whatever you want to call it, better than the fan I'm currently using in terms of the space and the profile of it. But if I don't have to buy one and I can just get a free one with the warranty, I mean, you'd be stupid not to. Even though it was only $40, it's still, why can't they make a fan is about as fucking basic of a fucking thing as they make. It's a motor with a fucking blade on it. I mean, duh. I mean, they've been making that shit since you could get a fucking. They've been making that shit since the 1920s. You could probably get a fan that was made in 1920 that would still work fine today, because they actually made shit that worked and lasted and didn't break. There's no reason for that shit to break. Like, what? Why would it break? It's almost like they have like a chip or some sort of fucking electronic part inside this thing that's designed to break after so many hours to force you to go out and buy another fucking fan. And I guarantee you it's probably, I mean, what other explanation is there? It's like the most basic shit there is in terms of like motors and stuff. And I don't know, man, but it's everything. Everything is like that now. And it goes all the way back to what I talked about in the beginning of the show. Our entire economy is based on companies ripping you off. And if the companies stop ripping you off and start giving you good value for your money, the stock market would crash. The stock market would crash, and then everybody would be angry about that. And there would be riots in the streets and people upset, and the boomers, especially the fucking boomers, would lose their fucking minds because, oh, there goes my retirement, and all this other, oh God, fuck you, boomer. At least you got to retire. You left your fucking kids and your grandkids to go fuck off and fend for themselves. But you boomers got to retire. Great. Good. Glad to hear it. Well, you wouldn't be able to fucking retire. It's like, and you're the first people to complain about shit, about being ripped off by these companies. But your entire stock portfolio depends on these companies ripping you off, because it's the only way that they make their stock price go up and up and up. And therefore, the value of your 401k and your stock portfolio and your investments goes up and up and up, because those companies are ripping you off to make the stock price go up and up and up. Sending all the jobs to China, sending customer service to India, making the quality of the product go downhill so you have to replace it every 3 months. putting a smaller amount of stuff in a bigger package and charging you twice as much as they did before. All the ways that they rip you off. That's how they make the stock go up and up and up. So which one do you want? Do you want the stock market to crash and companies to stop ripping you off, or do you want the companies to keep ripping you off and let the stock market go up? I don't like choose your poison. You can't have both. You can't have both. And so with that, I'm just gonna wind it down because we're at like 3.5 hours, and but I love hanging out with you guys, and it's been fun. Um, yeah, all the OGs came to hang out tonight, as you do most of the time. I think these videos are getting like 100 views overall when you combine people watching the replays and all that kind of stuff. So aside from doing these streams once a week, at which point I might, channel members, shout out if you want to switch to doing it like first 2 hours and then we go do an hour or so for members only on the live stream night. Let me know if you're down with that. I would hate to switch to members only and then have nobody in the house for the last hour. I'd rather just, have 10 or 15 people or whoever shows up stay. I don't want to just cut off all the OGs who, so I don't know. Just going to do it one day at a time. But when it comes to the short form videos, I've got one more kind of long video to upload aside from the one that's going live tomorrow. But that's already done. It's a video that was recorded over about 1.5 years ago or more. And I'm just going to upload it to my channel with a little bit of an intro. It's an interview that I did with somebody a while back. And other than that, I'm going to put out some videos. I'll sit down to do like what I normally do and talk for a few hours in a video camera. But then I'll just chop it up into separate videos that are like 15, 20 minutes at the most, more digestible, and just see if any of those get more traction and see if there's things that I can do to help the channel grow and get past, the games and the shadow bans and the bullshit that YouTube's doing to keep me locked down. And with that, I'm going to say once again, thanks for coming to hang out. We'll do this again next week. It's Wednesday night, 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. That's Chicago, Houston. Draw a line, 6 o'clock that time. And, it always goes like 3 hours or 3 hours and 40 minutes tonight, 41 minutes. So you definitely got your money's worth, especially the ones who aren't channel members yet. But you know how to join. You want to help a brother out. If I had 100 channel members paying $2 to be a member every month, that would open up the doors for me to like, shit, man, that'd be like grocery shopping. That would cover my groceries for half a month probably, and that would unlock the opportunity to do more. But anyway, I'm just throwing that out. There's another plug. You don't get a lot, like, subscribe, ring the bell, all that bullshit. With that, I'm just going to say peace out, and we'll talk again next week.